There we go. I do apologize, everyone. Wait, I'm moving things. Hang on. I have to not move me. There we go. I do apologize. My for some reason my phone wasn't connecting to the stuff, so I was just sitting there blankly staring at you. Would you guys like this if this was my content? Just no movement, no fluid movement, just me just talking at you, no expressions, no changes, no nothing. Just cold, dead stares. I think you guys would probably like that. That's quintus. I'd basically be a PNG tuber, just a little bit more detailed. You spend a lot of money on a single thing, on a single image. Some people do. Some people get kind of really fancy PNGs. But hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. It's nice to see you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the start to the weekend. Hello. Well, of course, hello, Sari. She's very important. Well, he's very important. I remember someone said Sari is a man. Um, Hello, Gusto. Hello, Nora. Hello, Lancelot. Hello, Tasty. Hello, what's up? Hello, Catboy Owie. How are you? It's nice to see you. Thank you for the first time chat. It's nice to see you. For those of you who don't know, Catboy Owie is another streamer. I'll give you a guess what he is. That's right. He's a dog. It's a very weird looking dog, but a dog nonetheless. A long tail, big whiskers. Woof. um, yeah, I seen him. I've seen you. I've seen some of your streams before that I've been able to catch, and I definitely seen him collab with Daya. That's how I learned about you, Owie. It was through Daya, and Daya's a cool guy. But we'll give him a quick little shout. Let's give him a quick little shout out. Let's give him a wait. No, how do I do this again? There we go. Big Daya. I love Daya. He's so cool. He's like the coolest guy. He's just cute. He's just cute and funny. Very nice, very sweet person. All of his crazy parodies. I've shilled him enough, but I had an image of me and Daya as my image on Twitter for this stream announcement. But hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a few days since I last streamed. Not by choice, I must say. Not by choice. It's just been really busy. Been really busy, and it's really tough to when I have to work. When supplies are running low, when supplies are running low in the Fenian camp, and I have to work overtime to get those supplies through hunting and other magical means. What are you talking about? That the underworld is meant to be, or the other world is meant to be a world of perpetual opulence? No, I will stay in my nice cold forest. But but yeah, just working extra time and then trying to study on top of that and trying to be healthy and fit. I feel good actually. This week, other than streaming, this week has been very good for like gym work. I felt just strong and fit. But no, I guess it was the first time in a couple of weeks that I managed to get 4 times a week in the gym, which used to be like my regular MO, my modus operandi, as some people say. But it's been tough the recent while. You saw the skeb with Daya and I. So good. Oh, it's really cute. It's really cute. The artist actually gave me 2 versions. He gave me one of us kind of like our eyes closed, and I think we're singing. I think that's what we're doing. And then there's another one of us kind of like looking back at each other. It's really cute. I'll post the other one maybe another time. I personally feel like Daya got the best treatment in that piece of art. I feel like just the angle of him, like the perfect side-on angle, where he has just a great side profile. I think he got the extra. But BL cover skeb, I have to get like clearly there seems to be a running theme when I get like duo skebs with people. They always turn into BL. I don't understand. I don't. Well. I guess it's. I've only gotten a duo. No, I've gotten a duo scab with D, where we're cheering on Orochi together. And that wasn't very BL. I mean, D's a woman, so I'd be sort of unsure why that could possibly be BL, but I don't know. Rua art yearns to be BL. No, that's false. That's not true. We should also have um does 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 Japan have like a term for just, you know, straight? Can we get some of that type of art too? No. I know people will always go on about BL. I like getting art of me and my friends. It's fun. It's fun to get like just cute things. Um Sometimes life do be busy. It do be busy. Hello Billy, by the way, always trying to get me naked. It will, who knows? Maybe it will work someday. Maybe it will work someday. I doubt it. But thank you by the way, Zen, for the head pat. I'm sorry I didn't notice initially. My It just had that peak vibe, dude. I don't think anything is ever going to top, you know, the sun Rua art. That, like, unironically, that art is insane. I've gone on about this piece of art before. But it's like, you know, like, all in all about the, ooh, there's a piece of, there's a piece of like chocolate. Crunchy. I've gone on about this art before, about how I said that it was friendship. Where is it? Where's my Skeb folder? There it is. Where's the folder with sun? There it is. Oh my god, I forget how big this fucking thing is. This art of me and Sun, this is friendship, by the way, guys. I know I've gone on about this, but like, unironically, this art is incredible. Like it hurts me to think that they closed their account after this, but I may have found them. A certain dinosaur friend of mine may have found them again. But like I don't understand how they just dropped this and dip. It's giving, and they were roommates. That's exactly what what Sun said as well. You need this redeem. Which one? Shirtless redeem? Like, I can get down to here, and you guys can see like the chest, which is totally realistic. I was doing dumbbell bench pressing today, and a little bit of fly work and some dips, so that was going well. My pressing numbers are still lower than they were before my injury, but I'm getting up there. Booba pump? No, can we call it a chest pump? Does it have to be booba? But no, I was still doing. I kind of worked up to about 40 kg in each hand, and that was. I could definitely feel it a little bit on the shoulder that I had the injury on, but just taking it slowly, working up slowly. And that was kind of for low rep range, by the way. I'm putting, in case you're like, oh, is he repping out like, you know, 15, 20 reps of that? No. It's down around like I think it was 6 or 7 I got. Mooba pump? Better? No, I don't like the word mooba. I don't like that word. Oh, is that what's his name? That's Rakudo's emote, isn't it? Chestflation. You guys are not sticking a pump. I'm not gonna be like Jesse from that episode of Pokemon where you guys would be able to like press a button and they would get bigger. It's not happening. He has some interesting ones that he does. I know I don't know if Kaz Spella, I don't know if you guys know Kaz Spella. He does some nice ASMR and he's a fun guy to watch. But is my microphone a little bit quiet for you guys? I don't know, like it seems like it's going into the yellow typically, but sometimes it's going down around the green. But Kaz has one, I don't know if it's one of his his stream emotes, but he has one where it's just like ass. And it always catches my eye when I'm looking through my emotes. I'm like, no, I can't use this one. But anyway, let's get rid of me and Sun being very good friends. How has you guys' week been? How has your week's been? Mine was pretty good. Mine was overall, I think, a positive week. I may have been busy, but I got a lot done, and I had fun singing, and I was doing stuff in the gym, and I was strong, and yeah. Week's been good, and I got like blood test results back, so things are generally pretty good. Uh, I'll just have to go back to a doctor just to discuss them, but that's okay. It's good to get professional advice. You took a short trip for your B-day. It was very fun. Ooh, where'd you go, Tasty? Where did you go? You're leaving Spain in less than 10 hours. What's up? You were in Spain? Nice. What were you doing in Spain? Spaining it up. That's well, you should wait. You should probably get some sleep then. Well, no, 10 hours. 10 hours isn't a while. That's always the fear about like going to sleep the day before your plane is to go. You've been there since February 9th. I think this is the first time you mentioned it. Unless that was no. Yeah, I think so. But I hope you had fun in Spain. That's a long time to be in Spain. To Ulrecht. Excuse me. To Ulrecht. Ulrecht. Why am I pronouncing that like Ulfric or something like that? Like, sorry, I said that name and all I could think of was like Ulfric Stormcloak. You mentioned that you were snowboarding. Ah, no, that you did mention that. I guess you just didn't mention where you were, which is good for OPSEC. Good for OPSEC, I suppose. To Utrecht. Utrecht. You already live in LL, but it's a bigger city, and also it's very nice to go full tourist. You can lose a lot of weight if you go to a place. If you go to like a touristy place or like London or something, you're walking around so much. You could easily lose a lot of weight just walking around. I remember I went to London and I came back and I was like 3 kgs lighter. I'd gone for a week and I was like, what the fuck? Even though like, you know, I was still eating food and stuff, I was still doing normal stuff. But I think just because you're always moving, you're always on the go. It's no, it might have been like 2 kgs. 3 kgs is a lot, but you can just you walked a ton, but also ate so much yummy food. I I remember I went to London, and I went to this bar somewhere, you know, and it was like a bar, but then underneath there was a club, like a small little dance floor. It was a tiny room, but it was pretty cool. You did. I hope you had a blast. The bed is hard as a rock, though. You're missing your bed at home. You are going to feel so good when you get into your bed. Trust me, it's going to feel so good. What's up? I remember I went up there and, you know, having fun, having a couple of drinks, enjoying my time. And I go up. I remember I'm just standing at the bar. I'm standing at the bar waiting to get a drink. And I see out of the corner of my eye, like this guy kind of like, you know, he's getting a little bit loud and rowdy. And there's this group of people that he's kind of standing next to, but I don't think he was actually a part of the group. But he was chatting away to them nice and loud. I think he had like an Australian accent. But he kept like high-fiving them, or not high-fiving, like what would you call it? Like hand clasping, I guess. I think isn't dabbing what some people say for that. Your bed is so soft, it's gonna be like sleeping on a cloud. Ooh, I like soft beds. I have 2 pillows just for one to kind of like one to lie on, and then the other to kind of just like fall on top of me and just be soft. Softest bed from store and memory foam on top. Ooh, that's good. Your people accent. So he kept doing that like hand clasp thing, but then he would like arm wrestle them in midair. And he was a big dude, by the way. You could see like he was like kind of tall and strong. You could just see on his muscle, on his arms, and like just his build that he was a strong motherfucker. So he's doing that to everyone. He's kind of bullying people a little bit in the way he's doing it. Hello, Clever. It's nice to see you. So he gets to me, and like he's kind of walking around, and I remember kind of just like, I was waiting to order my drink, and I kind of glance over, and he catches my eye, and he does it to me, and I'm not gonna say I'm some like massive jacked guy, but I'm decently strong. So I kind of resist him back, and I actually get the better of him. That more because I expected it, I think. I think he was like doing it to everyone, and he didn't expect me to kind of get the upper hand. I kind of positioned myself to get a little bit of better leverage, and he was like, "Oh, mate, you're strong as an ox, mate." And he like punched me in the chest with both his hands, kind of like in in a like like a way that you do like in a game of rugby or hurling or something. Um, he like just hit me in the chest. He was like, "Oh mate, you're strong as an ox," and he grabbed me like over the shoulders and pulled me in and like pointed to one of the bar staff and was like, I don't know. He like said her name. He was like, "Oi, oi, get me two beers for me and my friend." And I was like, "Okay, this is happening now. This is happening. Okay, all right, cool." So we got the beers. I'm not a big beer guy, but I'm not gonna like say no to the hyped up, probably on cocaine, very tall, strong guy. Decently strong, he says, as he's benched like 100 kg for reps. I have, but not now. I don't think I'd be able to. I imagine considering I was able to rep out like 540 kg. Not exactly the prettiest. Like 40 kg dumbbells each hand. I imagine my bench press is right decently up there now, but yeah, it was up around 100 kg. Then I went back to boxing for a while. It dropped a little bit because I was focusing on boxing, but yeah, I did manage to get up. I think I've done like 2 sets of 5 with 100, and then after that it kind of dropped. But that was probably at my strongest. That was like that period when I was benching 100 kg, and like sometimes like I tried to go up a little bit more. 540 kg. 100 kg. Like shoulder. I remember. I think my max shoulder press was like 70. Did I get 72.5 kg? I'm trying to remember. I may have gotten like 71.75 or something like that, or no, like some like thing below that. But I've definitely shoulder pressed 70 kg. I think I got 2 reps. It was not pretty. They were not pretty reps. No, like that was at my strongest. I've definitely dropped now. Like my shoulder press these days is at about I want to say 55 kg. But that's, I mean, like I fucked my neck and shoulder up a bit, so probably that. Did Ruadh say he posted a bicep reveal on Twitter? Somewhere, possibly, yes. Possibly, yes. He did what? Not under Ruadh. Not under Ruadh. You guys won't find it though. Giga Chad motherfucker. Most you done shoulder press is 25 kg. That's still good. That's still good. Like the thing with shoulder press is it's hard to go up in weight. Like it's not one of those things. Obviously you do your incremental increases, but at some point you're just going to hit a point where. So my routine was up. This might work for you. It worked wonderfully for me. Is you do your warm up, you'd work up to your working weight, then you do about 3 sets of that, and then you drop down. So you do about 3 sets of that, but usually I'd be aiming for like 8 reps of that weight. Your collarbone isn't straight, so your shoulder press might be a little janky. I see. Yeah. Then I what I would do is I would drop down to a lighter weight. So for example, if I was doing 60 kg, I would do the bar just to warm up. I'd rotate my arms and stuff. Then I'd go 40 kg, 50 kg. Then I get up to my 60 kg working weight. I do my like 3 or 4 reps depending on how I felt that day. Then I would drop back down to like 40 kg. So I would like really decrease the weight. I grab a light pair of dumbbells, so you're talking about like 10 kg maybe, dumbbells each, or 5 kg, whatever works for you. Then I would do basically a superset of basically a drop set, but I would do the overhead press with the barbell, and then I would get the lighter weights, put them up, and go. And I do that until I am flat. Then obviously I'd move on to do side laterals and make sure you hit your rear delts and finish it off with some face pulls. And I'd also throw in some what would you call it? What are they called again? Shrugs. Yeah, shrugging. Secret not safe for work. guys, posting a bicep, posting my arm is not like not safe for work. What are you talking about? You love drop sets. They're so good. They're so good. Your noodle arms hurt just thinking about it. If it's that size. You can't hit rear delts. Your shoulder dislocates if you do. Oh my god, what's up? That's not good. Lewd bicep. I thought you said drugs. No, I don't love drugs. I've only smoked weed a couple of times. And that's the max amount of stuff that I don't. I've never even smoking a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette. I had to catch myself there. You did that. You did with leg exercises and tend to throw up. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my god. I've never done the leg press actually. I've never done the leg press. I think what was my max on squat? Did I get a 3-plate squat? No, I think I got just under a 3-plate squat. So that would be what, 140 kg? No. Is that right? Yeah, 140 kg. I got that for a couple of reps. No, I got just under it. I think I got like 137. 137.5. I was working towards that 3-plate, and then COVID came along. Ruadh reconnecting with nature through weed. You leg press more than squat. Yeah, that makes total sense because you're basically the position that you're in, and you don't have to squat yourself. Basically, like you're not squatting yourself, and it takes a lot of the weight off. Lewd bicep. You guys are dumb. But I've been because of my like neck and shoulder, I've been kind of going away from doing squatting, which is really annoying because squatting is really good. It's like one of the best exercises you can just do. Maybe I can go to like a front squat or something, or maybe I'll just start doing like hex bar squats or something and try to just get that motion. Still incorporate that motion, but I've been using just machines and stuff. So still getting like my leg extensions and leg curls and things. I actually can full rack the leg extension thing. So that feels good. It feels good full racking it and being like, yeah, let's go. Although I do think when I full rack it, I don't get to hold it at the top as well. To be honest, it's more like I power it up, and then it kind of just immediately pushes my legs down. So usually I do drop sets back down to like 60 kg, and I just kind of like I then press up and hold it a little bit longer and kind of do it that way. But anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. Do sissy squats? Huh? What? What are those? I was doing hip thrusts actually recently. I'm gonna try and do those more because I think I did them. I used to do them for a time when I was like big into squatting. Our killer, search them up. Drop set leg extensions are your favorite. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I have to admit. When you stand up after leg extensions and you just wobble, and you're like, oh fuck. I usually try and superset them with a. Is that the right term? No. Yeah, superset them with leg curls, and sometimes I actually kind of just fall onto the leg curl machine because I'm like, oh shit, I can't stand. I wobble over to the machine. Ruadh needs a salivate emote. But anyway, sorry, going back to the story about that guy. So he's a big motherfucker, and he's clearly strong. You can see like the muscles on this guy, but he wasn't like a big guy. He was like kind of lean and sinewy. Like you could see like he was like tight, if that makes sense. Had a camera directly above it. It was so comically placed. No, they're gonna be looking at your butt. Wads off. They're gonna be looking at your butt as you lie down. They're very popular machines in your gym. It's hard to superset them. Ah, makes sense. There's always things like that. Like the cable machines are always gonna be so difficult. But if you can get the cable machines, you can do so much stuff with it. But you have to be willing to share things with people. That's one thing. If you're gonna go to the gym, you have to be willing to swap in and out. And don't just be sitting on something on your phone. I do that. I do that too. But like, be aware of your surroundings, and try not like I fail that as well. Trust me. But it's good to share. But anyway, so there I am talking to this guy, and we're chatting away. And he's very aggressive. He's very hyper in a fun way, in like a friendly way. He's aggressive. He'd be like telling you a story, and he punches you in the chest as he's telling it. Like he was very hyped up. Then he started telling me that he was actually an ex-professional rugby player. I remember he showed me his card. He showed me his card. He tapped his card as I was looking at it. I didn't know who he was. And then he was like, "Oh, look me up. Look me up, mate. Look me up." And I looked him up. He played for Scotland, apparently. He played for Scotland, a couple of international caps even. And then he started telling me all about like the hassles he was having with management, and like a load of crazy stories of things that were getting on. But I remember at one moment, like, I was actually kind of getting concerned, because sometimes people, like, if you get them talking about, fights, stories about fights they were into, or like situations where there's clearly a lot of emotion, you can get that they get very riled up, and they get almost back into that like intenseness. Now, I've met professional athletes before, but not like this. Now, I think this guy was probably a little bit out of it, considering he played rugby. He's probably taken many knocks to the head, and I assume he was on some form of concoction of drugs. But he's telling me a story about something that happened between him and management and another player about being like traded. And he was like, you know what I should have done? You know what I should have done? I should have fucking grabbed him by the neck. And he as he says this, he reaches up and grabs my neck. He grabs my neck. And he kind of squeezes it a little bit. He kind of squeezes it a little bit. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Please don't hurt me. Like, I wasn't saying please. I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy, man. While like he's sitting there with his hand around my throat. And then he took it off. He was like, and he just kept going on. But like, I was talking to him about being a rugby player as well. I was talking to him about what I used to do, being a flanker. And like, obviously, like you could see. I assume all rugby players are like this, or at least most of them. They're all slightly insane. But this guy was a character. He was quite an interesting character. Ruadh got abused a little bit. It was all in good, I assume, drug-fueled fun, but man, did I not expect him to grab my fucking throat. I was just caught off guard with it, you know? It was I'm used to, I got very used very quickly to him kind of like shoving me a little bit, and like just, you know, because he was a professional rugby player. He's very physical, so fair enough. Not the grabbing my neck part. Over the course of the night, we also did a couple of more arm wrestles. I beat him twice, and he beat me twice. No, sorry, hang on. I beat him once, and no. Did I beat him twice? I think I managed to, but I remember on one of them, I kind of put my hand on the table, like my other hand kind of on the table a little bit, and he got really angry about that. He like stood up and was like, "Stop fucking cheating! Stop fucking cheating!" I was like, okay, because I'm a very happy drunk. You know. When I get drunk, I'm like, ha, yay. This guy was like on a hair trigger. He was on a fucking hair trigger. I was worried he was going to attack someone, possibly me. And like, you know, I don't know if I could beat a like 6 foot whatever the fuck professional athlete. Well, ex-professional athlete. I don't think he played. The roid rage started kicking in, possibly, or cocaine rage. I don't know if cocaine makes you angry, but that was quite the experience. I ended up leaving him alone because like just kind of escaping when he went up to a bar. And I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with him anymore. So I went back down into like the club area, and then just over time, you know, I didn't have to deal with him anymore. I remember I ended up getting talking to a few other people, and like one of the bar ladies, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he's always in here, just causing trouble." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not surprised." Old man strength too. He wasn't like an old man. He was probably in his like, I assume probably 40s maybe, or maybe no, like early 40s to late 30s, I assume. But you could tell this guy was like a fucking rock. Like he was fucking just strong and aggressive. You could write a homoerotic novel out of this. You could. You could. I would rather not it be. I would not like that. AO3 tags, abuse, neck choking. Retired athletes are younger. But no, this he was an interesting character. Very fun for one night in a silly way, but also I imagine if you hung around him for like more than 2 weekends, you're probably gonna get dragged into a fight, either with him or against him. Well, yeah, that was a fun story from my trip to England. I met an Australian who played professional rugby for the Scottish team, and he choked me for a second. But hey, I beat him in arm wrestling, so there's that. I can say I beat a professional rugby player in arm wrestling. Pretty impressive. Yeah, I know. A big thing about arm wrestling is just like there's loads of little tricks. I love watching the videos about the professional arm wrestlers like Devin Larratt and the massive Middle Eastern guy. I think he's like Algerian or something. He's like the biggest like one of the biggest people I've ever seen. But yeah, that was a fun time. So getting into what this stream was meant to be about, considering it's meant to be an ASMR stream, I may swap my voice over a little bit to a more calming feel. Found an ex-Scottish rugby team player who was Australian in an English pub. This guy might be Mr. Worldwide. Yeah, It was quite the event, I have to say. Quite the fun event. But anyway, I want to he was wide at least. Yeah, he was a big dude. He was a big guy, strong guy, big guy for you. But yeah, we're gonna get into the reading. I actually remember I woke up today and I was kind of annoyed about it because no, I wasn't annoyed about waking up. It was fine waking up, but I remember I said something to myself as I was about to eat breakfast, and my voice like was really, morning voice, like really croaky. And I thought to myself as I started eating, I was like, oh man, I should record a voice note I should like record something so that you guys can hear my morning voice. But by the time I finished my food and I like spoke again, it was gone, and I was so upset about it. I was like, oh no, because it was like, it wasn't like that. Pondering thirst traps. I will say the least thirsty trap thing possible in my morning voice. I'd be like, you have to move your car. you parked on my lawn. Fuck you. And then I'm gonna slash your tires. You missed out on morning voice, sexy voice. How do you guys know it's sexy? What if it's like terrible? What if it's like the ugliest morning voice you've ever heard in your life? Okay, next time I'll try and keep in mind to record something with it. Some people might like that. That's true. You're so sad you don't get morning voices. You just have a healthy voice. What's up? Yours doesn't get all croaky and tired. But we're going to be going back to our reading streams today. And we have a book today called... It's kind of a shorter book to the ones that we've read previously. The text is small-ish, but I think it would definitely be quicker than what we've done. You forgot to put your gas in your car, dumbass. But it's quite short. It's only a little bit over 100 pages. But it kind of ties into the book that we were reading beforehand. Green Eggs and Ham. Do you guys want me to read Green Eggs and Ham real quick? Isn't that really long? Why did I type in Green Eggs and Ham lyrics and not the text? I remember I remember Germa was reading this, and someone put the music of Rap God to this. And it was so funny. It was like, I am Sam, Sam I am. That Sam I am, that Sam I am. And I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. But like, I have to find the video. I imagine it would probably be pretty easy, but I feel like doing like Dr. Seuss books would probably be very relaxing. Actually, I should do that sometime. But yeah, just like talk about green eggs and hams to you guys. I would not eat the green eggs and ham. That doesn't seem safe. It's a very cute peepo. I like that peepo. He looks very happy. But yes, so the book actually we're going to be reading isn't Green Eggs and Ham, as philosophically depth as that book is. It's actually kind of a book that kind of relates to what we read last time with the theological origins of modernity. This book is called De-Fragmenting Modernity. Hello, Dee. Hello, hello. How's my favorite angel girl doing? Hello, Muri Kaminu. Koma Inu, I think it should be called actually. Koma Inu. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Hi, Dee. Hi, Dee. How are you? De-Fragmenting Modernity. Yeah, Dee wrote this book, guys. Dee wrote this book. Any words that start with the word D before it, Dee did it. Dee is the cause of it. Disasters, Dee causes them all. Destruction. Deforestation. It's true. These nuts. Maybe, I don't know. No, Fox. No. 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 Should you be playing Monster Hunter or something? Shouldn't you be playing Monster Hunter? All the nuts are yours. She's a monopolist. She's a monopolist. No. Monopoly. The Monopoly. No, wait, no, that's a word. That is the word, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that is the word. To have a monopoly on something. But all I can think of is the game. Fox, yeah. D has a monopoly on D's nuts. Yeah, exactly. She has a D-nopoly. A D-nopoly is just a monopoly but controlled by D. You love the macadamias. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I liked that one. I liked that one a lot, D. But to those, so I've been seeing on Twitter about Monster Hunter. I hope you guys have been enjoying and that it was a good update or new game or whatever it was. I've never played that game, but I know many tubers do, and many of my friends do. But anyway, I think we're gonna get into the book reading today. and we're going to be reading Paul Tyson's De-Fragmenting Modernity. And there's a couple little extra words: reintegrating knowledge with wisdom, belief with truth, and reality with being. You've never played a Monster Hunter game either. Thank you for joining me. What's up in that? And it's sort of on the Shrek 5 teaser. They do look weird, don't they? They look they look off. They look off. Like, I see some people trying to protect it, where it's like, they just got better with making the models. No, something looks strange about it. It's Shrek, and I get that they'd have updated models, but it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. I feel like and it could probably be it's probably very small things, just like slight movements of the eyes, nose, or whatever. But they need to fix it. They need to fix it. I can't believe Shrek is still going, by the way. Man, I want to watch the original Shrek, actually. I want to watch the original Shrek. And especially Shrek 2. I remember Shrek 2 being my favorite. Because Shrek 2 is just so good. It's so good. Someone made an edit, and it seems the problem is the proportions ever so slightly. Eyes are too close together. If they got better at the models, then why does Shrek look normal in Puss in Boots when that film came out last year? Yeah, that's a good point. Why did it Puss in Boots got censored for some reason? No excuse for you not using the old animation. Kung Fu Panda. I will say, I feel like Kung Fu Panda 3 was the weakest of the series so far. I know that there's meant to be like 7 movies of those. 7 Kung Fu Pandas or something like that. But I always felt like 3 was the weakest. And I never watched 4. And I believe it sucked. From what I heard, 4 just like sucked. Been like 10 years. And even that barely existed. Oh, Shrek 4, yeah. Yeah, no, I read somewhere. I remember it was meant to be like there was a whole plan with loads of them, but I don't believe that necessarily. There's also 4. Yeah, I've heard that 4 is terrible. Like, what I found, I will say this. I will say that 3 has some of the best music going for it. Oh, excuse me a moment. I am back. Shrek the Musical was pretty good. I don't think I saw that. But like the main villain's theme, Kai, I think his name is, the buffalo. Oh, that's good. That is so good. Just the violin and all of it. Oh, it's good. I think it's really hard because 1 and 2 of Kung Fu Panda are both such good movies. Like, I feel like 2 does exactly what it needs to in terms of scale. It doesn't go absolutely crazy because the scale of the first film was already kind of crazy, that he's going to save the universe. But 2, like, I love the character design of the second guy, Shen. Kung Fu Panda 1 was peak cinema. Yeah, like 1 and 2, I think I would probably put them both. On top of each other. I loved Shen's fighting style, like all of the peacock stuff with his tail doing a bunch of crazy things. It was so cool, and just like the backstory on Po. But you know what's also what you can also say about those movies is Modernity. Trying to tie it back into the book we're reading, because I do want to try and get some reading done today. You guys aren't going to get me to talk forever, you know. You could very possibly do that, but this book is more of a critique of modernity, and kind of. So remember when we talked about the theological origins of modernity? We had various different things, various different kind of discussions, and different. You'd say challenge accepted, but you're kind of eepy. Oh well, you can help. I can help you fall asleep. I can help you fall asleep, Tasty. I hope you get good sleep, good dreams. this is looking kind of at modernity itself as it is now, at sort of the rise of the scientific worldview of kind of materialism and what was the word I was going to say? I guess moral skepticism and things like that, or not moral skepticism, but well, yeah, some of that as well. But moral relativity and kind of aspects of that, and it's sort of a book that discusses them and kind of gives a for I guess I can read the blurb. Would probably be the easiest way. I read this book a good while ago, so I kind of forget it a little bit. We live in a strange. Actually, you know what? Let's just get straight into the book because I think that would be better. It would probably just repeat the starting pages. So this is Paul Tyson's De-Fragmenting Modernity. Tai Lung, though, our battle will be legendary. Yes. Dino Raid, let's go. Wait, no, wrong. No, I don't want to take off my clothes. I just want to do this. No, Mog, I didn't just try and take off my clothes because you raided into me. That would be very suspicious of me. But hello, Moggers, I guess. Moggers. Hello. Hello, Dino Raid, let's go. I like that little dancing dino. I like your little Mog dancy guy. He's very cute. He's got like a little scarf on. Aww. But hello everyone. My name is Ruadh. I'm a half human, half Tuatha. That is the god peoples of Ireland, who lived in Ireland on top of the island before the Gale arrived, my other half, and drove them underground at the Battle of Mantua. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. How's it going? It's going pretty well. We were just about to start our reading for today. So I was just kind of talking that the book is kind of related to what we read last time, called De-Fragmenting Modernity. It's sort of a critique of the modern worldview from a philosophical angle. So I very much do. Hang on, let me do a quick shout out. Nope, that's not going to shout out. There we go. Mog. There we go. Thank you so much for the raid again. But yeah, I do sort of gaming streams. I do the odd singing stream from here to here. Not as much as I'd like, admittedly. And I do kind of, a lot of my content revolves around reading. Kind of an ASMR vibe, where you guys can just sit back. You can try and join my viewers in stopping me from reading and just keeping me talking about random things. Like earlier in the stream, we were talking about how an ex-professional rugby player, probably high on coke, choked me in like kind of put his hand on my neck and slightly choked me as he was telling me a story. That was quite an interesting one. We were talking about gym stuff earlier too. How do you feel about the Spinosaurus nerfs? A new leading theory that Spinosauruses didn't really swim and just fished like how bears do. Why didn't the Spinosauruses just like roll on their backs and just stab all the fish? Am I thinking of the right dinosaur? Yeah, why didn't they just roll over and stab the fish with their back thingy? Slapped fish out of the water. Yeah, I actually think the way bears catch fish are pretty cool. Bears are just cool in general. But I do hope you guys enjoy. So my regular reading content is typically around history, philosophy, a little bit of theology or other such things. So I do hope you guys enjoy. And again, thank you so much to Mog for joining. You gotta go get some food. Enjoy. If you do need to run, and if you do need to raid and run, that's totally fine. But if you do come back, that'll be very much appreciated, Mog. Thank you. Bye-bye. Go enjoy your food. You're gonna have to tell me what you're having later. So, Chapter 1. Unsolvable and solvable. Solvable and unsolvable problems. Unsolvable problems. Maurice Blondel has said that there are no more difficult problems to solve than those that do not exist. What he means is that if we do not understand what our real problems are, our most intelligent problem-solving strategies will fail to make any real impact on reality. Genuine solutions to real problems do not follow from a misassigned understanding of what the real problem is. me just stop that ad from happening. Alas, misidentifying problems and the resultant flurry of ineffective action are a stubborn feature of modern technocratic power. In Australia, where I live, oh, he's an Australian. He's an Australian. D, you missed that story, D. Yeah, yeah. I had a gusto. D, you get some representation in my book reading. Yeah, there was a professional ex-rugby player who at some point during the night put his hand on my throat and squeezed it slightly. I also beat him in in an arm wrestling contest, so that was pretty cool. It was a fun but also slightly always on edge night, I will say. Where I live, our well-meaning government provides us with many illustrations of Blondel's truism. Let's take just one example. Oh no, we're gonna get into Australian politics. I know a lot about this. Non-consensually. Yeah, he was telling a story and he just kind of did it as he was telling. He was explaining that he should have grabbed the throat of the manager who was trading him because of how angry he would be. Haru would have been ecstatic. No. For the past 20 years, my federal government has been trying to reduce our alarming youth suicide statistics. Ah, Rua. Rua, why don't you pre-read some things once in a while? By every statistical measure, our government's efforts have failed. We've raised public awareness of the problem, sought to de-stigmatize self-harming behavior. We have taught our health workers and counselors the most up-to-date techniques of psychological treatment and pastoral care of self-harming youths, but all to no avail. The rates of youth suicide continues to rise. A key aspect of this tragic failure is the technocratic grid through which the problem and its likely solutions are seen. I know what he's saying, but the way it says the problem, it makes it sound like youth suicide isn't the problem. That's fucked up. That's a fucked up way to read it. This grid has to make the problem of a statistical increase in youth suicide amenable to the categories of implementable policies that can be rolled out in the nationwide prevention programs. All this is done within the functionally materialist parameters of secular knowledge, a way of seeing both the problem and the solutions that is blind to existential and spiritual drivers. Treating youth suicide as it is an essentially psychological problem, that is, treating psychological problems as if they have no existential and spiritual dynamics, is to try to treat symptoms rather than address causes, if the problems actually have existential and spiritual drivers. Of course, psychological therapy may well be helpful to deeply traumatized young people. Perhaps the increase in suicide would have been considerably worse had our government not tried to provide psychologically framed public health measures to counter such things. But various forms of self-harm among our youth are now so widespread, and the fact that an increasing proportion of young people who are at risk are from normal families indicates that factors other than clinical psychological trauma are at play in the overall trend. Your school's way to address youth's troubles was to try and induct us into a cult. D, why? Was it the D cult? Were you the leader of the cult? If not, that doesn't sound good, D. That sounds very not helpful. Your school didn't do anything, and you don't know if that helped. Your cult would have worked. Yeah, my cult would have worked too, guys. My cult would have worked too. People just need to give me power, that's all. That's, D, I'm glad you're not in a cult. I hope you were never in the cult. I definitely think doing nothing is probably preferable to that. Could it be that we are misidentifying despair and anomia as depression? It was very bad recruitment. This is a question our policy controllers cannot ask because our psychologically defined public health challenges are problems our technocrats think they can solve, but despair and anomia are not. At a policy level, we are more or less locked into seeking mental health answers to the youth suicide problem. So he put psychologists at the front line of strategic planning to reverse the problem. But to do so is to define the limits of what the problem can and cannot be, regardless of whether those limits actually define our real problem. De- de- Dictatorship is on the way. Don't worry. Can I be at your right hand? Well, no, Genzuki might be at your right hand, but I'll be married to Genzuki, so like I'll be at his right hand because it will be entwined with mine. Oh wow! I just let that roll. I just let my mind go. No, he's married to me. Too late. Too late. He's writing BF. BL again. He has two hands. That's true, but the other ones in the other hand too. How do you join the dictatorship? You submit to D. You bend the knee, and you promise to bring her all the macadamians. Having a pretty angel lady as a leader sounds like a good idea. Agreed. Our psychological profession, at least in Australia, is embedded in behaviorist reductionism, located precisely within what Charles Taylor calls an immanent frame. This outlook sees existential and spiritual concerns as epiphenomenal constructs that are secondary to the real drivers of human behavior. So are experts and policy boffins systematically treated depressive symptoms as if they are the primal causes of the problem. Further, if youth suicide is at least in part symptomatic of a cultural and community malaise, again, treating self-harming individuals is not going to address the real problem. And it's not hard to see that a culture that promotes narcissism, relational atomization, and the absence of any substantive conception of transcendent meaning in daily life is now strongly embedded in the norms of our consumer lifestyle. If we define psychological health as simply what is functionally normal to any given shared way of life, what sociologists call a life form, there is something inherently misguided about pathologizing a natural feature of that life form without asking if that life form itself is pathological. I forgot my book again. I was just remembering the page from... I was just remembering how the book went. Oh, sorry. I thought ads started even though I turned them off, but no. So there's a few things that he mentioned there, like narcissism or relational atomization. I think you could definitely argue that this our culture is very much one of a narcissistic culture. The type of I say this as a VTuber who's streaming on Twitch hoping to do well, but you know, we are very much a culture where people will do really anything to try and get popular. And oftentimes when they do, they'll often use it to their own gain, obviously. You know, you have the Hawktua girl and her Bitcoin and... not Bitcoin, sorry, her meme coin and various other people who've done similar. You have the Tate brothers. I hope they get locked up soon. I don't like them. But you see this kind of narcissism, this kind of drive for what would you call it? Fame, but on a I think almost like the fact that like people can, like normal people can become famous now, not just like Hollywood actors or like singers or you know, famous scientists and stuff. Like anyone can become famous, and in a way that can be a good thing, but also like you see kind of what, like I really doubt that Mr. Beast was always such a soulless husk of a guy. You guys see his smile and his face, his eyes. It's really warped our pack bonding instincts. And another thing is I'll touch on his wording there of relational atomization. I think really does go back. You know, to tie back into our theological discussions of our last book, when you think about the idea of nominalism applied to humans, that everyone is an individual, and this leads to good things such as, you know, certain rights and such things, a focus on not just the state or the collective, but also a focus on the individual. It's good to have a balance of those things. I'm going to try and keep as politically. I'm going to try and keep it out of the stream, but just a brief explanation. But that has led to very much a rise of individualism, and you can see that especially in America. I do think that in a way this has caused very much a sort of atomization where people are cut off from each other, and many of the natural bonds that people would have are substituted. I mean, you could point to this right now. My streaming. You could say, well, Ruadh, you're cut off from those around you by, when you're interacting with people through some kind of avatar. But that's not true. I'm real. What you guys see before you is 100% real. But there is a sort of atomizing effect where, especially in cities, I don't like cities for that reason. Like, I've gone to a few big capital cities, and they're cool. They're cool to walk around and see all the things, but there's something I just don't like, that amount of people and just all the concrete. I don't know. It feels very. Maybe I'm just someone who likes, I like from my. I guess that's something I kind of like about Ireland, is that, like, depending, even if you're close to, like, a city, you can look out and you can see fields, like, just, like, a little bit away. You're never really far from rolling green fields. And I'd like there to be more forests and stuff, but, still you're close enough to some nature. Since Durkheim, sociologists have known that one of the characteristic features of structuring society around the high levels of negative freedom. So negative freedom is the right. We're not developing parasocial relationships with Ruadh, but that's the base. That's the, like, structure. That's the, like, backbone of all of VTubing. You guys have to become parasocial. How else will you guys pay for my vacations? Can take the Ua out of the forest, but can't take the forest out of the Ua. Yeah. So negative freedom against, say, positive freedom. Negative freedom would be the freedom from any restraints on doing what you want, and then positive freedoms would kind of be like the right to do certain things. And you see them very much in two different frameworks politically. Libertarians, very much from as well on American sides, and really the modern world, you see negative freedom kind of being the main thing, stemming very much from kind of the social contract idea where, Hobbes, as he puts it, we give up certain freedoms, we give them away, we get out of the state of nature by surrendering certain freedoms to live in the safety of the state. But ultimately, like, kind of the ideas that have been pushed in times is that as excuse me, as production and things have increased, some of these freedoms should be returned, and ultimately the aim of some groups would be sort of an anarchism to do away with the state altogether and give back people these freedoms, this sort of negative perfect freedom. While many people who would be kind of pro-state, so in very much a kind of Aristotle or Plato, who very much see the state as a good thing, kind of the republic, for instance, would be that the state and the republic for Plato provides the means by which someone can fully actualize their potential. For Plato, being a political animal or being a rational animal, Aristotle being a also rational and political animal. There's a couple of things going on there. You're here to keep tabs on your Genzuki competition. The fact you see me as competition means you've already lost, D. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest, D, you could probably just do, like, you could probably draw art of Genzuki, and he will retweet it and like it. He will see it, because he often does that. I don't know if you have his, I don't know if you care enough about him, D, to have his Twitter notifications on, but, sometimes I wake up and I just get spammed by his tweets. You're a humble floating name on the internet whose intent is a mystery. You should draw art of Genzuki. I think he'd look nice in your style. That is, when modern liberal societies are set up so that individuals can please themselves and choose their own values and beliefs as much as possible, Negative freedom, freedom from external restraint. That's way well better put than I did. Collective customs of appropriate behavior and common religious or ethical belief structures are seriously diluted. At a certain level of dilution, this dynamic dissolves a shared customary framework of a common way of living governed by shared beliefs about cosmic order. This renders power structures bleakly functional and impersonal, meaning subjective and insubstantial, and behavior norms, manners, customs, common customs of propriety, highly plastic and simply uncertain. This produces anomia and despair, confusion about cosmic order expressed as a debilitating existential anxiety about one's own and other people's intentions, identity, and significance. So if the norm of mental health we are aiming at is not prepared to put individualistic consumerism itself on the table as a possible problem, in Blondell's sense, our policymakers may well be trying to solve the problem of youth suicide without seeing the problem as it really is. This may account for why our best efforts at solving the problem have failed so decisively, for problems that do not exist are impossible to solve. So what he's basically said in these first 2 pages is that he sees it anyway, and obviously he's coming at this from the perspective of a philosopher slash theologian who definitely believes in something anyway. I think specifically Paul Tyson might be some kind of Christian, but I imagine that these type of arguments would probably fly for any real Platonist or kind of theologian who believes in kind of a higher realm or whatever. That the in this case a mental health crisis is sort of locked into the framework of a materialistic lens, where only materialistic kind of functions can be used to fix it. While he's arguing that, well, in this individualistic, in this materialist conception of the world, many people find themselves cut off with no meaning, with no feeling of real relation between people, and kind of they haven't anything to ground their identity or their being in things. So he's seeing it possibly as a regathering and a kind of reintroduction of these type of things may help alleviate many of the existential fears that people feel. Sort of his argument. Hello, Ace. It's nice to see you. Well, Hyper Ace. Sorry, I have to specify Hyper Ace because I also have a friend called Ace. Let me very quickly grab my water bottle because I can feel my throat being a little bit scritchy. Sorry, I knocked over something and it kind of half landed on my toe. It was very light, but it still hurt a little bit. It still hurt a little bit. That's fine, you don't really mind. But how you doing, Hyper Ace? Ace from One Piece is your friend? No, I'm thinking of Ace P. Caswell. Ace P. Caswell. There's also another Ace, but there's another VTuber Ace that I know, but I don't interact with him very much. There's too many Aces. Hyper Ace, you have to kill the other ones and take their place. Take their place. Take their place, eh? Their place. You're sure all the other Aces are cool? It seems to me that there are some basic features of the reality in which we live that has become invisible and even incomprehensible to our technocratic conception of valid knowledge and effective action. We have, I suspect, developed a way of life that is entrenched in a set of cultural blind spots that are unwittingly causing us serious problem, solving grief. Let us quickly look at a few further examples that concretely spell out what type of blind spots we may have. No, please don't get into more than 4 scenarios. They're going to be so, I'm sorry, this is meant to be ASMR. I apologize for getting loud. These are going to be political, all of them, aren't they? You're great. You've been murdering Tyranids in Space Marine 2 for the last 3 hours. Based. Destroy the bugs, Hyperace. Destroy the bugs. Don't let any pansy being like, actually the Imperial the Empire are bad guys. No, kill the bugs. Kill the nasty bugs. The Tyranids literally want to eat you. Remember that. They want you dead. They want your kids dead. They want your pet dog dead. Shoot them. Kill them. Destroy the bugs. All the bugs are dead. You killed all the bugs? I'm very impressed. Actually, don't you know you're not meant to like the Empire? Well, I'm sorry, but like they look pretty cool. Liking things based on aesthetics has never gone wrong. 4 scenarios. We know how to isolate the inner cell mass of a very early... Oh no, wait a minute, hang on. Let me very quickly read through this myself. Okay. It's not, it's more touching on like, okay. Yeah, don't kill all the bugs in real life. Bugs are kind of cool. They're kind of important. Giant bugs that eat you and kill you probably aren't cool, though, in real life either. There aren't many of those, but just stay away from them. Don't anger them. We know how to isolate the inner cell mass of very early human embryos in order to harvest their stem cells. We know that embryonic stem cells can be differentiated into any cell type, and they have amazing powers of propagation. We know the clinical possibilities for tissue replacement in diseased or damaged patients is greatly enhanced by these findings and techniques. These are the facts. But what is the human meaning? What are the moral implications? And what is the transcendently referenced significance of harvesting human embryos as medical technology? These are not questions that an informed knowledge of the scientific facts and technological possibilities can answer. Basically, he's saying that it doesn't matter how much technical knowledge you have. It doesn't matter how closely aligned you are to the science. Science cannot give a proscriptive moral framework of what's correct to do. We know that currency and derivative trading is now denominated in monetary flows that are orders of magnitude greater than the real global economy in the production and distribution of actual goods and services. Guys, if you guys ever want to like feel pain, just look at the type of money that goes on in what he's talking about, like FX and derivative trading. It's ridiculous the amount of money that gets traded. We know that there is a global system of financial secrecy, jurisdictions used by transnational corporations and the super-rich to bypass nationally located tax responsibilities. Ooh, as someone Irish reading this, we know that whenever possible, governments will bail out too big to fail private financial institutions if they get into serious trouble. We know that the wealth of the world is being continuously siphoned up towards a tiny transnational super elite, and the elected leaders of nations are increasingly irrelevant, other than as guarantors, to real financial and economic power. But this is the reality of how the global financial system works, so we work with it. Whether it is right or wrong, fair or exploitative, democratic or tyrannical, is more or less irrelevant to its reality. We accept the amorality of high financial power. We accept the amorality of high geopolitical power too. Who is going to argue right and wrong with the global military power of the USA? Or realist view of power maintains that actors always pursue their own interests. This means that the most powerful have the most power to get what suits them. Practically, in the real world, questions of right and wrong, as if might and right are different sorts of things, simply don't apply to great power. Topical, Ruadh. Ruadh, you should have read the first 5 pages of this before reading it on stream, but you're committed now. You just got reminded of something back when you worked as a bookkeeper and you did some company's financials. One company you did pay slips for, the CEOs and higher ups all got arrested for tax fraud. Oh my god. Good. Yeah, I'm delighted about that. I'm glad they got absolutely, I hope they got destroyed. I hope they got I'm actually someone who's quite I'm a little bit when it comes to financial crimes and things like that, I always think like, one, obviously they should be fined heavily to pay back what they stole, but then like many of their assets should be frozen as well, and they should be left with like very little, because often those people take a lot. They take a lot. You just hope you're not linked in anyway. You wouldn't be unless you participated in fraud. But more than likely what they would see is okay, this was a bookkeeper who was just putting in transactions and was on a low totem pole. The stuff they were talking about in the article was what was the shit that you did. What's up? Okay, what's up? That might be a little bit bad. What? Maybe don't talk about that. But I was gonna say, what did you do? What's up? What did you do? Were you putting through journal entries that shouldn't have been put through? Were you putting in? Did you? What's up? Did you get a trial balance that didn't balance? And did you just put in were you told to put in a debit or a credit, and you just called it fraud, and that worked? You're safe. I'd say you are safe, because ultimately it's the directors and the higher ups. You got given numbers and did calculations and sent out pay slips. That's all you did. Yeah, they'd look at that and be like, okay, he's just a guy. We ain't snitches. They got us to deal with. Yeah, we'll keep Wads off safe. We'll bury him in snow if the tax man comes along, or the angry man comes along. I would 100% though keep any written things you can find on that, if you have any of them, like to keep yourself safe. You were just a worker and you didn't really have much bookkeeping or financial knowledge. You were just kind of doing clerical work. You'll be fine. In theory, most of us probably support universal rights, including the rights of refugees to seek asylum and permanent resettlement in the UNHCR Refugee Convention signatory countries. In practice, dude, why does this have to be the most No, guys, I'm reading a book. Oh, thank you, Zan. Thank you, Zan. Many Europeans, Americans, and Australians are scared of Islamic asylum seekers. We are scared of their religion. We are scared of their terror. That they are terrorists. That they are, not that they are, but might be. I missed a word there. Dude, this book is making me blush. I'm like, oh no, this is not going well for me. We are scared that they will take our jobs or drain the wealth of our nations when we ourselves already feel insecure and vulnerable. So in practice, the principle of universal human rights is not sacred to us. So he's kind of pointing out, a kind of friend-enemy distinction almost, similar to a la Carl Schmitt. We water it down if our politicians feel like they can make electoral mileage out of refusing asylum seekers. We Westerners like to think of ourselves as tolerant pluralists, but we often do not understand the way non-Christian people do religion, and it scares us. We like to think of ourselves as good people, but when we feel insecure and vulnerable, we feel entitled to drop universal and costly moral responsibilities. Are not morals just made up anyway? Aren't they just socially constructed conventions? Why shouldn't we tweak them to suit ourselves when we need to? We know what facts are, but can we know what things mean? Can we know what the value of things is? Can we know if any spiritual reality stands over our realm of practical action and judges it? Our knowledge doesn't give us answers to these questions. What doesn't our knowledge help us here? Why doesn't our knowledge help us here? The company was a cover for gold mining in places like Guinea and... Oh no, what's up? I'm sure you'll be fine. You might get called to testify. You might be testifying against them. I hope you don't get captured and kidnapped and put down into the mines. What's up yearns for the mines. The problem. Modern Western knowledge is blind to truths of being and belief. This is a unique signature of our culture, and by and large we are proud of it. To us, only facts are true. The very idea of being hardly makes sense, and anything to do with belief sits in the realm of personal conviction. Or freedom to believe whatever we want about meaning and value means that truth simply does not apply to belief. Facts are true and not false, as adjudicated by science, but radically incompatible belief options all reside together like a menagerie of gods in a well-ordered pantheon. Regarding beliefs, individuals choose their own gods, and our tolerant society rejoices in personal conviction. Pluralism within limits. This is workable because personal beliefs are subservient to public facts and legal behaviors. Factual things and legal regulations unite us. These are our master gods, but we are free to go our own way in our religion, value commitments, and, I know the word doesn't mean a lot today, being. Getting sent to Brazil. How long ago was this? About 6 months-ish? I say keep your head down. Well, you'll be fine. They'll be like, so you recently fled to Spain for a month. You went skiing, huh? Did you use that with all the money you embezzled? But look, they care more about the big boys. The big boys. You'll be fine, I think. You probably would have gotten a call already about it if you were on the radar. Excuse me. I think being out of practice with my streaming has meant my voice has gotten a little bit tired. Despite Western culture's deep embedding of classical Greek thinking, our civilization now has almost no conception of truth in relation to being. To the ancient Greeks, the investigation of being is a truth-seeking enterprise that concerns itself with essential, non-material reality. While defining essential truths in terms of being is a distinctly Greek move, the idea that spiritual reality concerns the most primal level of the real is, apart from us moderns, a civilizational and cultural mainstay of the human condition. Our separation of truth from being and from believing makes us very different from every other civilization. The big boys all have money in their pockets and are out on bail. You're totally fine, What's up? Ugh, my throat is getting caught back there. Interestingly, the Western. If I see you, What's up, on the news, you know what, What's up? If you're getting like arrested for life, if you're like in front of some cameras, can you say Ruadh to a camera, so I know it's you? The Western discourse of progress is deeply aware of the civilizational uniqueness of Western modernity. So remember we talked about that in the other book, the idea of progress. Correctly, we link this difference to modern scientific knowledge, because we have science and because secular scientific rationality so deeply orders our way of life. We see ourselves as having advanced beyond our pre-modern origins. We think of the Middle Ages as pre-modern, not merely in temporal terms, but in terms of its lack of progressive development. The Middle Ages are defined, in our eyes, by scientific ignorance, technological limitations, irrational superstitions, and political and religious barbarity. Scientific truth and the humane reasonableness that accompanies a respect for objective facts has enabled us to discard the superstitions of the previous age and has given us enormous power over nature. This is obviously an improvement on the past. Not only is it an improvement on our past from the colonial age on, the West has seen itself as advanced in relation to all pre-modern and all non-scientifically defined civilizations in all times and places. This high vision of ourselves is what gives progress its capital P. You're gonna tell them a streamer Nick called Ruadh Uaquilta taught me all you know. Wait, What's up? Can you shout me out? If you get onto like national news, can you shout me out? It wasn't me, you were just following orders. Also, yeah, exactly. Tell people to follow me on Twitch. You're gonna have to say it right, and then you're gonna have to spell it, because people won't know how to spell it. Scream the WhatsApp is real. When they start the interview, you'll just WhatsApp. This made you eepy. I'm glad it made you eepy, even though I feel like I'm just loud into my microphone at times. But are we really the pinnacle of all advancement and civilization? In recent times, the idea of progress has been roundly denounced as culturally hubristic by post-colonial thinkers. We are civilizationally different, yet I am inclined to agree with the argument that says a difference is one thing, but to evaluate that difference as progress is another thing altogether. Actually, I think the way in which our conception of knowledge denies truth to being and belief is a disaster. Here's a short list of the problems. We can't integrate facts with meaning. We have a flatly materialist and pragmatic practices of life, whatever our personal religious beliefs might be. Power likes to operate outside of morality, and we simply call this realism. Morality is separated from legality, and we treat our most existentially significant belief commitments as matters of arbitrary personal preference. The WhatsApp is real. Can we get much higher? So high. WhatsApp, are you okay? In more general terms, we routinely perform acts of staggering emotional and rational and spiritual stupidity, simply because we are instrumental scientific realists. We may end up, we may well end up destroying the fecundity of the biosphere simply because financial and political power is too deeply entrenched in amoral, short-sighted pragmatism. No, Pip, I'm trying to read about philosophy and modernity, and you're poking me in the face. How dare you? How dare you, Pip? You know, hi though, Pip. Hi, it's nice to see you. You know, I've said before, like a lot of VTubers have big eyes, and I feel like these eyes are actually kind of like the normal size of most VTuber eyes. So often, what happens? Sorry, you're late. You had to do something. That's totally fine, Pip. You were not under any like force to be here. Now, if you don't attend the next stream, I'm gonna shoot you. But I always find when I don't you dare, you're a good Pip. You are a good Pip. I always find when I take these eyes off, my face feels weird. Like it's like my eyes are too small. That's one thing that I do like a lot about Kanae's model is how big his eyes are, and they allow for like big winks and stuff. It's very cute. Hang on, I'm trying to wink all like cutely. My eye tracking is a little bit yee. Pippity poppity, pippity poppity po. I said a hip, pip. I said a pip, pop, a pippity, a pip, pip, poppity, pip, pip, a toppity. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm pippin' to the beat, and me, the crew, and me, the groove, and my friend Pip are gonna try to move your feet. I said. Anyway, let me get back to the reading. In more general terms, oh no, I've read this. Because financial and political power is too deeply entrenched in amoral, short-sighted pragmatism to take wise account of its own long-term interests, or strange realism is a function of a life world constructed out of objective facts, quantified, observable, non-qualitative, non-meaningful knowledge, or fact-denied life world that constructs an astonishingly bleak cosmology. Here our cosmos has no transcendent meaning. It is simply there. Only physical needs and instrumental power are visible to this knowledge vision. So realists among us apply themselves to understanding how things in this meaningless, valueless cosmos physically work, and then work out how to bend the physical properties of things to whatever use or factual needs and wants desire or require. Meaning and value are thus understood as mere constructs of physical use, desire, and power. This feeds into a common culture where the only realistic reason anyone does something is to create a market for their narrative of constructed meanings and values in order to sell something and make a profit. Andrew Tate. Meaning and value are debased to the level of their uses as weapons for gaining a competitive advantage within the categories of commodification, marketing, and personal preference appeal. Ironically, in the end, it is only money that has any meaning and value. even though we all know that money is an entirely artificial construct. It is nice to have money, though, to not have to worry about money. I will say that. That's a nice feeling. Hello, Mama. Hello, Inca. Hello, how are you? It's nice to see you. It's nice to see my mama. Wait, hang on. Let me shout out Mama. I typed in Mama first. You impulse bought FTL. You've been playing it too much. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm so glad that you're playing it. I hope you're having an absolute ball. You got your first win? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why would you destroy a baguette? You should destroy a baguette by eating it. But hell yeah, Mama. I'm so glad. How did you... It was so cooked. Were you like hanging on by a thread, Inca? Did you just win? Did you just win? Because that's what happened to me in my first win. I remember I had like 2 health. You lost all of your crew except 1 NG? What? You won with 1 NG? That's honestly... That's insane. I've had it where like everything is going wrong. The ship's on fire. Everyone's dying. But I kill the ship at the last second. And like the ship's about to blow up. But I still won. So it doesn't matter. You actually get a special... You get a special... oh, sorry. You get a special... end screen, I think. Like text box. If you die. But also destroy the ship at the same time. I'm glad I encouraged you to buy it, because it's a really fun game. I think so, anyway. I think so. But Inca, you're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool different ships. There were many stupid moments. Yeah, when you're panicked and you're like trying to keep track of everything, like the amount of times I've lost a crew member because I sent him in to repair a breach and a room. And then I got distracted trying to kill the ship. And then I look back and I hear the beeping and I realize, oh, he's about to die because of oxygen. And then I watch him die because of oxygen. Is too many. Too many to count. You blew up the ship with your people still on it. No, Inca. No. You got a teleporter though, did you? You got a teleporter. Raiding, like teleporting over is such a fun way. Boarding is such a fun way to play. You love the teleport. I can see why. If you get like 3 or 4 mantises, or manti, I guess, or like a rock man or 2, they can just wreck house. They can destroy anything. I don't know if you know this. I don't know how you... It's kind of hard to do because there's so many people on the main ship, on the flagship, Inca. But obviously you can teleport over to those small rooms and destroy the weapon ships, and it trivializes much of the fight, which is what you want. You want to beat the flagship. But if you kill everyone on that ship, it will start repairing everything because an autopilot will take over. So one of the best things you can do, if you can, is teleport over, kill all the guys in those little compartments, and if you are able to, destroy, like kill the guys, kill the rest of their people, but leave one alive. Leave one alive, because then he's running trying to repair everything, and you just have free reign to bully him. Because they won't survive coming back. Laser guy is ideal for that. Does the laser guy... I guess you could do that, but like... Oh, wait, yes, actually. The laser is... Wait, hang on. I'm trying to think of how the ship is built. You have the ion, missile, first right. Is the left a laser? Yeah, I think the left is a laser. Yeah, that's actually a good idea, because laser can't do anything. Like, you might get really unlucky if the power surge takes out your shields, but sounds evil. It is kind of fucked up, actually, if you allow the laser guy there. If you just keep him there, it's ion, laser, missile, beam. That's it. Yeah. Space pirate military strategies, yeah. Inca. I do wonder if you stole any supplies for like people who are like struggling. I always get that thing, and it's like, oh, I could booby trap these supplies because I'm just a terrible person. But hey, I get 2 extra free jumps. Only once, only once. I'm sure it was only once. Inca, Mama, Mama, did you? When you're desperate, yeah. Kind of like what this book was saying. When you're in a desperate situation, your morals go. But did you come across the giant enemy spiders? Did you come across those spiders? They always seem to show up at least once a campaign. They show up once. Did you try and help the people? Did you try and help? Did you try and help with the spiders? You always lose someone to it. Dude, it's so unfair. I've only ever seen a single way to win that. I'm sure there's a very small chance of actually beating it with the normal way. But the only like proper way that I've seen you win that is if you have the bio beam, which is a beam that does no damage but deals like 60 damage or something to whoever it hits. Like 60 damage to like a person. It's pretty cool that way. The slug guys have that, but that's the only way I've seen you be able to actually succeed that. You've never picked that up. Yeah, it's sort of one of those things. I imagine it would like rock. It would be really good for a boarding ship, but the slug people have it for some reason. But it would definitely be good for getting some like early game stuff. Double burst laser too. Oh, that's actually unfair. If you get 2 burst lasers, that's like such a powerful ship. 2 burst lasers. There's anti-bio lasers. What the fuck does anti-bio laser do? Does it make them healthier? But that's I have to get into mods. I have to get into modding FTL and seeing what crazy things you can get onto there. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying FTL. We're just doing a little bit of reading. I am writing this short book in order to try to uncover the distinctive way in which your conception of valid knowing makes the very idea of being incomprehensible and renders belief a matter of arbitrary or personal preference. I am doing this because I am convinced that the displacement of pre-modern conceptions of being and believing by a distinctively modern conception of knowing is bad for us. To say that this is not to denigrate modern science and technology. Scientific knowledge provides us with a wonderful window on certain types of truth, and our technology has some amazingly good uses. The problems is that modern scientia, knowledge, know-how, has debased and displaced sapientia, wisdom, know why. But it is not the case that scientia is itself bad. Sorry to derail stream. That's just what everyone does on this stream. I read like a paragraph or two, and then someone says something that makes me talk, and then I get distracted and I talk for like 10 minutes. Locking in now. You lock in and you fall asleep. You're like that. You guys are going to be like, when you guys lock in and you fall asleep like 2 minutes later to me reading, because it's so boring. The content is so boring. It's you're like that hamster. You're like that hamster that was put on the piano, and the guy played the piano and he immediately fell asleep. It was so cute. The goal is to derail the stream. I do think there's an aspect of that to you guys. I think the chat likes derailing the stream. But next section. The argument of the book. The basic idea in the following pages, if the stream wasn't derailed once, it was a bad stream. Are you saying that if I did the content I want, it would be a bad stream? That's so mean to me, what's up? That's so mean to me. Why? Why would you say that? You hate me. He hates me, guys. Death shock, you like tangents? That's better than saying that it would be a bad stream. Yes. I respect the Chad, yes. You like Hello. Hello, Death Shock. It's nice to see you. Tangents are fun though. I agree, I agree. He hates me. Cry about it? What's up? Be careful, I can ban you. The basic idea of the following pages is that being, knowing, and believing always have their meanings in relation to each other. The principle holds true even when one of these terms disappears. That is, being is now an idea that has very little meaning to us because of how we understand it. Because of how we understand knowing and believing. This is concerning because ideas about fundamental categories are important for our understanding of ourselves and the cosmos in which we live. Without viable primary ideas that relate clearly to our shared experiences of meaning, purpose, and value, we develop cultural blind spots in our capacity to reflect on our experience. When this happens, our blind spot leads us to an inarticulate meaning deficit in vital areas of our culture, which then shapes the life world in which we live in inherently inadequate ways. We shall try to put words to these meaning deficits so that they can be brought out to the assumed backdrop of our way of life. The hope is that in articulating some of these foundational premises of our modern life form, a new range of possibilities for addressing the unsolvable problems of our way of life can come into view. We need to change our way of life at the level of its primary assumptions, rather than just trying harder to solve its existing problems. The next section is called Solvable Problems. This is all one chapter, by the way. You wouldn't try me, bitch. A duck fact. The Labrador duck is the only known extinct North American waterfowl species, which is believed to have gone extinct in 1875 off Long Island. Aw, poor duck. Poor Labrador duck. Cat fact. Both humans and cats have identical regions of the brain responsible for emotions. I'ma try you. Tell me how I taste. Tell me how, bite a chunk out of my arm. And, let me know am I tasty. I'd suggest cooking it first. And, putting a little bit of seasoning on it. Because of our understanding of knowledge and belief, we can taste Ruadh. You can have a slice. You taste gingery. No, don't call me ginger. Call me redhead. That's better. That's a better term. I like that better. Fight. Capybara's incisors can grow up to 5 inches long. Oh my god! Don't mess with the capybara. Solvable problems. Because of our understanding of knowledge and belief, and our non-understanding of being, even the simplest problems of essential value, meaning, and transcendence are now unsolvable. We try to construct answers to the wrong problems in the wrong terms. The way we approach the aforementioned problem in Australia, alas, illustrates this well. But it would be a mistake to maintain that youth suicide is an unsolvable problem. Rather, the way we think of the problem makes it unsolvable because we are not seeing the real problem. If we saw the real problem, and if we had the will to take actions that were going to address the real drivers, the problem could well become responsive to our reform efforts. A hallmark of our times is a certain fatalism, born ironically in our enormous instrumental power. We often have a civilizational overconfidence in our ability to find a technocratic solution to our problems. But technology, bureaucracy, and management and financial power all define our problems in the value-neutral, instrumental, and financialized and naturalistic terms of the solutions that they are able to offer. When our solutions cause deeper problems or totally fail to address the real existential and spiritual drivers of any given problem, then we think, well, the problem is unsolvable. But it is not the real problem that is unsolvable. It is a problem that does not exist. The problem we have defined by a reductively immanent vision of knowledge and our merely instrumental understanding of power that is unsolvable. The unsolvable problem does not exist because the terms in which we have sought an answer are not true to reality. Understanding our real problems, in terms that are appropriate to the nature of the problem, allows for real solutions. But if we have lost terms that are appropriate to the richly valued, transcendently horizoned, instinctively significant reality in which we live, then we will not even know where to start in such an understanding, let alone find solutions. So the recovery of terms that fit our actual experience of reality is what this little book is advocating. Don't mess with the cappy flappy. Got it? Exactly. Let me take another sip. Recovering Being, Chapter 2. In the following pages, I'm going to argue that we often assume very strange and even impossible ideas about what knowledge and belief are. In response to that diagnosis, I am going to seek to redefine and justify better ways of understanding knowledge and belief and how they relate to each other. This is going to be a difficult task, but two things help. Firstly, the words knowledge and belief have an immediate and everyday meaning to us. This gives us a point to start. Second, in recent years, a lot of very serious thinking has been done by intelligent people seeking to understand what knowledge as a feature of our lived reality actually is. The close relationship between knowledge of facts and beliefs and practices of communities, at least at a sociological level, is now pretty well understood. The word being, however, is different. For a range of historical reasons, the deeper meaning of being, which are embedded in the history of Western philosophy and theology, have little connection with our everyday language now. The meaning of being has become culturally lost to us. In general terms, modernity largely sees this loss as a good thing. Modernity often sees itself as a firm progressive rejecter of all things medieval and classical. To modernists, most things pre-modern tend to be horribly embedded in superstition, unprovable speculation, pre-scientific ignorance, oppressive socio-economic structures, and political and economic repression. Being is considered archetypically pre-modern in the above sense. As will become clear, I do not agree with modernity in its disdain for the pre-modern Western tradition concerning being. But whether the loss of that tradition is a good thing or a bad thing But whether the loss of that tradition is a good thing or a bad thing, if we do not understand how this loss happened, we will not be well positioned to evaluate. How being was lost in the West, the central terminological tangle. I have considerable sympathy with the modern tendency to disdain being and its science, ontology. This field of thought has become increasingly dysfunctional by the time modernity emerged from post-Reformation late medieval Europe. Even so, I think a simplified untangling of the basic terminological knot in Western ontology does allow for a good recovery of the classical and medieval traditions of ontological thought for our times. The knot mentioned above arises from the late medieval terminological tangle that arises from thinking about being in two different ways. A high medieval and non-Neoplatonist Aristotelian sense of being refers to what makes material things, example, a tree, a house, a cat, a person, be some comprehensible thing in particular. This understanding of being produces the science of the substantial manifestation of intelligible things, something preemptive of 18th century empiricism. However, the early medieval theological heritage of that same era used being in a somewhat Platonic sense, though early medieval Platonism had very little access to Plato's writings, to refer to timeless mental realities that do not materially exist. This was called realism. And here, for example, the mathematical idea of the circle is a real being. This understanding of being produces a science of pure intellectual forms, something preemptive of 18th century rationalism. Plato and Aristotle speak of intelligible forms and particular material things, but the relation of form to matter is different between Plato and Aristotle. Plotinus and Aquinas quite visibly synthesized these two different approaches and solved the terminological problems these two traditions gave rise to within the Greek and Latin trajectories of Western thought. Yet, from the late 13th century on, new ideas entered Western thought about being that made ontological terms intraceably tangled. Serious thought about being in the high age of Aristotle, the 14th to the 13th to the 17th century, became an arena of acute subtlety and complexity. And you guys should have a little bit of knowledge of what was going on there with our discussion, with our reading of the theological origins of modernity. See, there was a reason I picked this book next. What seems to have happened is that thought about being became such a thicket of terminological complexity in the late Middle Ages that the 17th century founders of modernity more or less gave up on ontology altogether. Certainly Galileo and Bacon had no interest in being in the age of science and technology. Practical knowledge, knowledge that gives material power, became far more important than abstruse questions concerning the nature and meaning of being. When 18th century philosophers tried to work on rationalist and empiricist views of reality, they do so consciously after the scientific revolution, but it does not seem to me that they succeed in cutting themselves free of the terminological knots in which being was already embedded. Instead, they actually proceed with a further knot of modern naturalistic reductionism thrown in. By simplifying and clarifying the basic terms of Western ontology, and by noticing how the discipline itself becomes a horrible train wreck well before the rise of modernity, I think we will gain an appreciation that the absence of ontology from modernity is not simply how things must be, and I believe we will be able to recover classical and medieval ontology insights for our times. Let us then begin at the beginning of the story of being in Western thought, and work our way towards its demise in late medievalism. In the Western philosophical tradition, though, thought about being starts with wonder. Wonder and philosophy. The Irish philosopher William Desmond, like Aristotle, is very taken with the primal experience that gives rise to philosophy. That is wonder. Desmond calls this primal experience an original wonder before the givenness of being. That is, the first object of the wonder that is the fountain source of philosophy is what we might call astonishment with being itself. Without getting technical about whose understanding of being we are drawing on, let us seek to briefly outline what astonishment with being is. To find ourselves as existing, thinking beings, situated in interdependent relations with all manner of other beings, within a cosmos that hangs together in a meaningful and orderly fashion. This is the primary marvel motivating any sort of sustained, thoughtful reflection on the meaning of things. The point of using the words being, things that are, here is that the wonder that gave rise to Greek philosophical reflection is a response to the revelation that anything is. Hello, Triscuits. Thank you so much for the 3-month subscription. Thank you for the 3-month streak. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Whoa. How you doing, Triscuits? Are you doing well? Are you cozy? Are you comfy? Are you having a good weekend? Oh, my nose is getting stuffy. I don't like that. 3 months preggers? Oh my god, Triscuits, you're gonna start showing soon. I'm gonna pat your belly and say good job. What is that emote? Let me take a look at that emote. I kinda like that emote. I kinda like it. Something about it. Oh no. Hang on, let me sniff. Let me sniff loudly, but you guys don't get to hear the sniff. Okay, I think that cleared it a little bit. In English, the word being, is, and the phrase to be are all grammatical variations of the same Greek family of words used in ancient times to talk about the object of basic wonder, isness, or isness. Here, being is bigger than the particular reality of any given being, for being is a common property that all things share in virtue, of simply being something. He denies us the sniff. I'm sorry, D. You guys don't want to hear me like try and clear my nose with a big sniff. Why would you want to sniff? Because my nose is kind of stuffy, and sometimes you can like I don't have a tissue nearby, so I can't blow my nose. So I have to like sniff it. I have to like try and clear it that way. It looks weird away, but close up it looks fine. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're talking about the emote. Yeah, it looks way better close up. It kind of looks weird. It looks like he has glasses in that one. We need to blow your nose redeem. Yo. Would do you guys want me to get like super close? Like get like here, get like super close to you, and then go achoo and sneeze all over you? Is that what you guys want? That's really weird. You guys are weird. Why would you want me to sneeze on you? Can't believe you guys. I can't believe you guys would redeem points. I can't believe you guys would pay me to sneeze on you guys. That's really weird. You guys are gonna be hearing about that $20 you owe me for sneezing on you earlier. You're germophobic. I didn't know that, Pip. But it's no, Pete. No, D. I almost said Pip, but no, D. Stop. Stop. No, you can't get close up poking. Stop it. Ang. Ang. I should try and like bite the finger next time it comes at me. I'll be like ang. Ang. You heard pokes from Pip. I misread because I saw the pokes happening and I was reading your comment, so I was like, oh, it's Pip also poking me. But germophobic, that must be tough because there's germs. There's a lot of germs around the place. I remember Mythbusters did a test about like someone with a runny nose and how easy it was to like spread around. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they did a thing where it was like, you know, they gave him an artificial runny nose and then they were able to test it underneath a black light or like a blue light. But one of the old presenters, Carrie Byron, I think it was her name. What was it? Carrie Byron, I think. She was a germaphobe as well. So she just did what she usually did. So what they did was they gave him a runny nose and then they set like a table up where they all went through like a dinner together. And so Adam, who had the runny nose, was like just touching loads of things and like handing forks and stuff around to people. But Carrie Byron herself was a germaphobe, and I think she didn't get a single spot on her of the fake runny nose thing. I think it was just some mixture that would show on blue light. But ew. It was fake. It was fake, Pip. It wasn't real. Don't worry. Maybe they used real snot though in the. Imagine that. Imagine they made a fake runny nose, but they used real snot. They just had a massive barrel of snot. Ew, that's disgusting. Hang on, I'm gonna get away from you guys. Milked someone for their snot. They're just there, just constantly like tickling their nose with a feather until they sneeze and they produce more snot. And they constantly have to take breaks because they're like dehydrating this person. They're dehydrating them because they're sneezing so much and they're losing so much snot. Stop, please. Okay, I'll stop. Pip. I'll stop. I'll be better. I promise. I won't talk about sneezing and snot and stuff. No. Dehydrate. Yeah. Like that's how my brain works a lot now. Whenever I see like a D word, I just go D. I add D to it. Here being is bigger than the particular reality of any given thing, for being is a common property that all things share in virtue of simply being something. Thought about what isness is, and reflection on the marvel of there being something rather than nothing, is a philosophical discipline called ontology. The Greek language origins of ontology unpack in the following manner. The onto part of the word comes from the Greek tuon, or tuontos, and the ology part of the word comes from the Greek logos. The word tuontos means the really real, where tuon means is, as distinct from meon, meaning is not. The Greek word logos means, in this context, reasoning about. Thus, ontology is philosophical thought that concerns itself with understanding the nature of that which truly is, and by extension, ontology is the contemplation of isness itself. Or one could also hear it being referred to as being, kind of thinking about being qua being. Part of you is concerned that you're indoctrinating people. That's just part of the start of your cult. That's the start of your cult, D. What's indoctrinating? Indoctrinating is when D infects your brain so that anytime you see like a long E sound in a word, you think of D. Imagine reading a book where like every time that happens, D was there. Like they had capitalized D. The Greek fathers of ontology, Parmenides, no, okay, that's stupid. Indictionating. Sorry. The Greek fathers of ontology, Parmenides, Plato, and Aristotle. The Greek thinker most strongly associated with the pre-classical origins of ontology is Parmenides. Parmenides draws the sharpest of lines between the unchanging isness, tuon, of that which is really real, and the not isness. The isness thing is is, like is, and then dash ness, so ness. To give you guys, because it can kind of be hard that you guys don't see some of the text. The not isness, or meon, of the shifting world of illusions we call tangible experience. To Parmenides, the apparent and shimmering realm of experience, with its change, plurality, and our unreliable opinions about it, is not real. And so this would be the world of becoming, or kind of or reality. So you have being and becoming. Of what is has no enduring or defined isness. In contrast, the unchangeable and intangible isness that is assessed by abstract reflection on the nature of what must be in order that what is might be intellect. Sorry, let me read that line again. In contrast, the unchangeable and intangible isness that is assessed by abstract reflection on the nature of what must be, in order that what is must be intelligibly grasped, alone is real. That which really is fundamentally simple and does not change, according to Parmenides. That which changes is not actually comprehensibly real. For how can you know something that is not itself from one moment to the next? And there's a note here. Parmenides, along with the other early Greek philosophers, astutely observed that anything in time is continually changing. Funnily enough, I was actually about to bring up this point myself. It's a good way to think about this idea of what Parmenides is trying to argue. He's basically trying to argue that no change actually occurs. And if you guys know anything about Zeno's paradoxes, Zeno argues that there's no such thing as movement, so things don't move from one period to the next. Of course, there's a story of Diogenes clearly demonstrating this to be false by walking out of the room, or something like that, by walking away. That'd be really funny. Some guy gives you a Zeno paradox, you just walk away. But like Parmenides is going even further. Parmenides is saying, no, not only does motion not exist, but the idea of, not only does like physical motion, one thing moving from one area to another, but no motion at all exists. It's all an illusion, for everything is one for Parmenides. All is one. Only being, the unchanging being, is is real. And you have two different school of thoughts in this. On the Greek side, you have the Eleatics and the what was it again? You have the Eleatics versus oh my god. Whoa. Hello, Foxy. Hello, Shroom. Hello, hello. It's so nice to see you. Hello, hello, everyone. It's very nice to meet all of you. My name is Ruadh. I'm a half-human, half-Tuatha. That is the god peoples of Ireland, who lived in Ireland long before the Gale arrived and drove them under the sheed mounds. But I am also half such a thing. It's nice to meet all of you. I am sort of an ASMR streamer, but I also play the odd games here and there, and I do some ASMR or singing streams the odd time. Not as good a singer as say Foxy, as Shroom. But hello Dusty 1674. Hello Sky Dryad. Hello Drip. I'm gonna call you Drip or Drep. I'm gonna call you Drep. And hello Foxy. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for the raid. Hang on, let me very quickly shout you out. At Foxy Shroomwitch. There we go. Hello, Rin. You were betrayed. You betrayed me by being in another stream. How dare you? You were officially to be sacrificed to the streaming gods. We're going to sacrifice you to Jeff Bezos, and he may give me an extra viewer. How was your stream? How was your stream, Foxy? I hope it went well. And don't worry at all, Rain. It's totally fine. No one is obliged to come to my stream. Hello, Witty. Doing a little alert. Don't sacrifice you. Get over here. It was good. What were you doing? Were you doing ASMR? Were you whispering in your viewers' ears? Were you whispering in their ears and calling them like good boys and girls? Is that what you were doing? You what? You what? You spit in their mouth? Is that the type of things that people like in their ASMR? Is that what ASMR is? Is that what I have to do? I don't want to do that. I don't think my fans want me to do that. It's a long story. I don't know. To be fair, I told a story today earlier at stream about how an ex-professional rugby player like momentarily choked me, like had his hand around my throat and squeezed it. So I understand that things can get a little bit wacky, but I don't know about that one, guys. Shroom Raid also, no, you don't like it. I'm glad there's one of you that's normal. I'm glad there's one of you that's normal. And hello, Shiro. Hello, Shiro. I like Shiro as a name. That's a nice name. You guys are weird. You guys are strange, and you know what? I guess it might just be one of the cases of the streamer reflecting the chat, because I get, if there are people who don't shame your chat, can I shame you instead? Can I shame you instead? Can I make fun of you for spitting in people's mouths? That's kind of a power play, though. It's kind of a power play when you think about it. Like, they love me so much, they just shame her chat. It's not your fault they like it. It's your fault for indulging in it. I bet you enjoy it. I bet it made you feel powerful. Hi. Hello, fauna flowering. Hello. Hang on, let me take off my pained expression. It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the first time chat. I remember seeing you. I think I remember seeing you follow during a stream. I thought your name was quite nice. Of course, Fauna is a nice name. Oh, ooh, Fauna, ooh, Miss Fauna. She had some nice ASMR. But I will shame. At least your chat doesn't roach. I'm guessing you're talking about my roach. No, I don't have that as an emote though. I don't have the roach as a thing. Hello, Lunar Eclipse. Hello, hello. Oh no, wait, no. Maybe I was thinking of a different fauna. It is a very nice name. Fauna is your actual name. That's really nice. Fauna is just a very nice name. And hello, Lunar Eclipse. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to meet all of you. At least they don't make it. I might talk to Haru about making a foxy version of that, making a shroom version of the plankton thing. I think that would be great. Would you speak to Haru about that? What's up? I can. Oh my god! I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist who can draw you pregnant. But what I can do is I can ask my artists to draw you as a plankton thing. No, don't actually do that because I think Shroom might beat me. Fair. It's a very pretty name. I can draw you pregnant. I would rather you guys not do that. I would rather that. I've been. You ain't drawing me. Thank you, Pip. Thank you, Pip. Don't do that. Just you can continue to draw me. You can continue to draw me like as like a harem boy. Well, whatever that art was recently, where I was basically half naked from the top up, and I had a veil. That was an interesting piece of art. It was very nice, though. I like you. I like your art. It's very nice of you when you give me art. You'll go actually get preggy and quit streaming if you do that to me. You don't have to quit streaming. One of my VTuber friends is pregnant actually. One of my VTuber friends, Bonnie Paws. She's very close, by the way. I think she's like 8 months pregnant. Egypt cat Rua. That's what it was. It was Egypt cat Rua. I had a veil, but Bonnie Paws. She recently revealed that she was pregnant. She was kind of nervous about it because she was worried about how people might react. But I think overall she got a lot of positive support. So I was really happy to see that. If you draw you pregnant, you'll go get pregnant. Ha. Art becoming reality. Kicking baby ASMR incoming. No, don't kick the baby. Kick the baby. Don't kick the baby. Then you score a field goal with Ike. Can your model do a backflip though? You wanna see? I can do a backflip. Watch this. Watch, I'm doing a back. Oh, my neck. Fuck. Ow. Shit, I'm stuck in the snow. Okay, I may have failed at the backflip. Can you guys help me? Guys, help. No. Hang on, wait. I can get out of this. I had to get out of that quick because you guys were looking at my feet and I realized that was a bad thing. In Sky's defense, you did kill them twice today. That's fair. You got screenshotted. Can you guys know what's up? No, don't use shoes licking emote. Thank you, J-Red, for the follow. Thank you very much. I'm just trying to read my book. You know. I have to deal with these people. I'm trying to deal with you guys. These freaks. Just trying to read my book. I probably should have said earlier that the type of content that I usually do is reading streams as sort of ASMR, and we read a lot of different works. We read things that are usually kind of history related or philosophy or theology or sort of a mix of both. I think it's very fun. Currently in love with the new Absolute Wonder Woman stuff. I have no idea what that's about. One day left until your birthday. Ooh, congrats, Ren. Congrats. You guys concern me. They concern me too, Pip. They concern me too. Philosophy? Alright, you're intrigued. I see. Now, time to lie and be forced to talk about pregnancy and feet for the next 30 minutes. No. We're actually currently reading a book called De-Fragmenting Modernity, which is sort of a look at did I skip some pages? What the hell? Oh no. No, I did. Strong, muscly women. Defragmenting feet. But we're currently looking at a book that's really discussing kind of the loss of ontology after kind of modernity took on steam. When the moderns kind of in the early 18th century cast away what they saw as much of the baggage of the medieval period, ontology being a part of it. You'll pass, you will never get taken by the dark side. Based pip. Based pip. Make it strong, muscly men you're in. You know, Robin, I respect you having a feeling on that. Heck yeah, what? She also uses magic and has a buster sword and was raised. What the hell are you guys talking about? Anyway, let me read this little note here. Thank you, Weaver, for the hydrate. There's very little water left in this. I think I sucked it dry, unfortunately. My throat will be slightly tired, will be slightly dry. There was a little bit in there. Parmenides, along with the other early Greek philosophers, astutely observed that anything in time is continually changing. If something changes, then it is not able to be defined in any sure way and knowable way, because it has no decisive and reliable identity. So only external things, things not subject to temporal change, can really have any enduring true and decisively knowable nature. The Parmenides, anything in time is thus not really itself in any sure or definable way. It has no fixed being. Indeed, to Parmenides, temporal things fail to be anything at all, as judged by the only standard of genuine truth, unchanging external reality. It is important to grasp that a key feature of Parmenides' ontology is that only what is genuinely stable, i.e. that is eternally unchanging, can be known. That is, in Greek ontological thinking, there is a tight relationship right from the outset between true knowledge and real being. This is a profound insight that we shall explore further later. Let us summarize Parmenides' approach to thinking about being as follows. Parmenides' ontology. Oh, sorry. There's a little box here, actually. Parmenides' ontology. Being is that which is eternally and unchangingly is. There is nothing else that really is, such that the realm of tangible appearances is not and cannot be known. You gotta go, you're gonna send fan art later? Aw, you think I will love? Aw, thank you, Pip. That's so sweet of you. That's so sweet of you. I'll see you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Relegating all of our experience of the world to the category of untrue illusions struck many in ancient Greek, as well, no doubt, as many of us, as making more out of the problem of experiential uncertainty than was really intelligibly justified. Yet Parmenides' arguments are by no means facile. It was not until Plato that the difficulties of Parmenides' arguments were powerfully addressed and reformulated. This leads us on to Plato. Plato is strongly indebted to Parmenides, but he modifies Parmenides in some crucial regards. So I was going to speak a little bit actually about the about certain groups. So on the one hand, you had people like Parmenides and Zeno, and Zeno's paradoxes and all this, who are like kind of all is one, changing things and real, such and such. Or there is no change in reality. And then you have the other side. You have groups like Thales, who believe that everything was water, or Heraclitus and such. where basically, they were very much looking at change things that are changing, and they believed that only the world of becoming was that which existed, and that the fundamental uh, matter of the world was one of the elements, for instance, of air, water, fire, or plasma in certain other groups, certain other thinking. Parmenides has a bipolar understanding of the difference between eternal reality and temporal appearance, such that reality does not tangibly appear, and tangible appearance is not really reality. Plato, by contrast, posits the idea of the in-between, the metaxu, realm of sensible appearances and mundane existence, which neither fully is, because apparent material things, unlike being itself, become, unbecome, and change. It also neither fully is not, because the apparent realm is, to some extent, intangible. What's the time where you guys live? You're bored? That's mean. Mean. I get that this is philosophically heavy, but still. It's worth noting that the metaxologically modified Eleactic trajectory of high ontology that Plato draws on from Parmenides is often wrongly contrasted with the Ionian trajectory of Heraclitus, who celebrates the flux and contingency of our experiences with existence. Oh wait, no, actually, I do remember something about this. That there was something, there's something I think underneath Heraclitus's thought that even with the flux of Heraclitus' thought, it does go deeper, and it looks to try and find like a sustaining feature, a sustaining being. I think I vaguely remember this, but I kind of fell into that trap there, it seems. This contrast is invalid because it ignores the fact that Heraclitus was a great and possibly the original Greek thinker of Logos, the Greek word for divine, cosmos ordering reason. The energetic motion of fire which burns up its material grounds is placed in a wonderful dialogue with a cosmic Logos in Heraclitus. Heraclitus teasingly implies a relationship between transcendently grounded meaning in the cosmos and the flux and motion of observable phenomena. And there's some notes here. In what might be called 20th century introductory textbook accounts of history of early Greek thought, pre-Socratic thinkers who lived in the west of Athens, Eleatic thinkers, are seen as advocates of eternal unchanging being in contrast to pre-Socratic thinkers who lived to the east of Athens, or the Ionian thinkers, who are seen as advocates of natural processes of continual change. This characterization is not helpful, as both the Eleatics and Ionians are often deeply interested in both change and eternity. Talking about Spain, yeah, no, I don't handle heat well. I don't handle heat well. Many people like sunny holidays. I am not one of them. I am not one of them. But it is Plato that draws this relationship out in understanding phenomena's relationship to being via thinking of experience as neither fully is, nor fully is not. Let us summarize Plato's approach to thinking of being as follows. Plato's ontology. Being is that which eternally and unchangingly is, and only being can be really known. Yet being is also partially expressed in the realm of material appearance. The realm of material existence is an in-between realm that neither is not nor fully is. Thus matter and existence participate in being, but matter and existence are derivative and dependent on being for the in-between type of reality that they exhibit. Thus the two levels of being, being proper, which is the realm of eternal and unchanging intelligible realities. And then there is the realm of particular, enmattered beings, where there is a degree of reality and intelligible truth accessible to our existing enmattered minds. Interestingly, there is also a third ontological level in Plato. And this is where I can follow quite a bit of this. The whole beyond being is where when I'm reading Plato I start to really struggle. Or when I'm reading things about Plato. The Australia summer has been brutal this year. Oh, Gusto D. I hope you guys have been doing okay. 42 would land you in hospital. Oh my god, I hope you guys have had a nice. I hope you guys have had ice cream and like just bags of ice that you could pour on yourself. Hello, Fluffy Feathers. Hello, Rue. You recently found my stream and you're quite enjoying it. Such narrator VA material. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. I've never thought of myself as a voice actor. But I suppose like I technically am just narrating books, aren't I? I do silly voices from time to time. I do silly voices. But it's very nice to meet you, Fluffy Feather. Thank you so much for the very kind comment. That's very sweet of you. And thank you for the first time chat. If you like it, you should consider following. based WhatsApp being like follow. Just like poking new viewers with a stick and being like, you should follow. You should follow. You were just about to. Thank you for the follow. Isn't it pretty? Isn't the music pretty whenever someone follows? You get ding, ding, ding. Wait, no, that's Harry Potter. It is one of your maid duties. Exactly, Ashley. Exactly. But thank you very much. Interestingly, there is also a third ontological level in Plato. The level of reality, beyond being, out of which being itself arises. Being proper does not generate its own reality. More will be said on Plato's understanding of the ground of being later on. After Plato, the next great Greek thinker of being is Aristotle. Or did Rua call you Ashley? What? Huh? Ashley? Wait, what? What are you talking about? I'm gonna have to watch the VOD back because I don't think so. But I was also thinking of I was reading like a comment earlier today about like Ashley Johnson from. Oh, exactly, Ashley. I probably was just saying exactly again. I probably was just saying exactly. Exactly. I probably went like exactly by accident. Like I kind of just slurred my words a little bit. Professional narrator Rua slurring his words. Aristotle takes a step further away from Parmenides than Plato does, and a step further into ontological complexity, by effectively claiming that there is no realm of isness that is not also a material apparent, at least as far as our knowledge is concerned. To Aristotle, isness is always substantial. To Aristotle, only things of substance can be. Embedded in this move is a significant break with the priority of the intellect. Intellective over the material in the ontology of Parmenides and Plato. Even so, Aristotle's understanding of what reality really is notoriously complicated, and he does contradict himself in various places. The apparent contradiction in different sections of Aristotle's understanding of the science of being is probably not the great philosopher's fault, as a text we now call Aristotle's Metaphysics was compiled some centuries after Aristotle's death from a bit of a mash of Aristotle's lecture notes. Rua, you know you're my maidette, but you're not a man. But you're a man, not an Ashley. I actually know an Ashley, a man that's named Ashley, funnily enough. I know a man named Ashley. And he's very tall. He's a very tall man. He played rugby too. You're gonna read Yowie. Enjoy your yaoi win. Enjoy your yaoi. You have to study these philosophers. You're getting flashbacks. Dude, what? I guess it's my content at the same time, but dude, I just attract the philosopher peoples. I track the people who are like actually. You also know a tall man named Ashley, based Gusto. What if it's the same man? That'd be crazy. What if Ashley? What if men named Ashley are just all tall? You're reading some Omega book. I don't know. I've had it explained to me once. I do not care for the Omegaverse. It insists upon itself. He actually moved to England. You're gonna find him? Yeah, track him down. He's tall, so it should be easy. Oh yeah, here we are. It is not fair to Aristotle to locate his contribution to ontology entirely in terms of his doctrine of the unity of matter and form, which is known as hylomorphism, in everything that we can know that is. But I speak of Aristotle's distinctive contribution to Western ontology. It is his hylomorphism that I have chiefly in mind. Let us summarize Aristotle's approach to thinking about being as follows. Aristotle's ontology. Being is that which is eternally and unchangeably is, yet, at least from our perspective, being is always expressed in eternal matter and within a dynamic cosmos. There is no, for us, knowable realm of being beyond the realm of unmattered and temporal existence. I don't know if Aristotle would argue that. Aristotle definitely makes the argument for an unmoved mover. And I know some might say, oh well, he posits like 42 unmoved movers or like 17 unmoved movers because of like the stars and such. But ultimately, I do think he falls back on there being one. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm agreeing with Paul Tyson here that he's solely conceiving of a material and like a temporal existence of being. After Aristotle, the meaning of being in its classical context becomes, to put it mildly, complex. Things get even more complex in the Middle Ages and beyond. We will now backtrack a bit and then work our way up to understanding the late medieval tangle. You guys should all know this, by the way. You guys should all know what I'm reading about because we read the theological origins of modernity together. Western ontology after the classical era. In classical times, the dominant approach to the meaning of being was drawn largely from Plato's usage. The Neoplatonist approach to synthesize Plato and Aristotle placed the learning order priority on Aristotle over Plato. Thank you for the lurk, Fluffy. You learn logic, science, and virtue ethics first, with an interpretive priority on Plato over Aristotle. Plato was considered to have the more profound grasp of higher matters of the two great classical sages. You definitely do not know what we're talking about. So when the understanding of being in Plato's thought was not in harmony with Aristotle's thought regarding the relation of form to matter, Neoplatonism took this approach. Aristotle's hylomorphism was treated very seriously in regard to material beings, but hylomorphism was not accepted as a valid way of understanding the nature of being itself, or for understanding the divine grounds of being. Hence Aristotle's doctrine of hylomorphism, taken as a final ontological outlook, and it is by no means clear that Aristotle took hylomorphism as a final word on ontology, does not have a deep impact on Greco-Roman ontology. It is not until the rise of medieval thinking, when Aristotle was read largely without reference to Plato, that the ontological differences between Plato and Aristotle's hylomorphism become significant in the West. Here, terms become very complex. Before that, let's take a quick look at this note. As Gearson points out, and I assume this is Lloyd P. Gearson, who has an incredible 3-part series of works that I would highly recommend you guys check out if you're interested in philosophy. As Gearson points out in Aristotle and Other Platonists, the Neoplatonist approach to the synthesis of Plato and Aristotle was pretty convincing, because there really is a lot of common ground between Plato and Aristotle. Plotinus subordinates Aristotle's hylomorphism to Plato's tripartite conception of the ontological order of reality, but treats hylomorphism at the level of our tangible experience of the world very seriously. Aquinas, too, without the aid of Plotinus, argues about similar lines in affirmation of his informed matter as being genuinely real, without accepting the idea that matter and form are the co-equal and co-eternal principles of being as such. You're gonna go to sleep, guys? Bye-bye. Did you say gaze, you bastard? Bye, Byron. Have a nice eep. Sorry, my battery was going. Thomas Aquinas, brilliantly synthesizing... Sorry, Thomas Aquinas's... That was not a spelling mistake. I had to admit that term. You got auto-modded. Thomas Aquinas's brilliant synthesizing mind aims to keep faith with the Christian Platonist ontology of Augustine and Dionysius, and incorporate Aristotelian informed materialism into his philosophical theology at the level of our existence. When, after Thomas, Duns Scotus enters the fray, he inserts stunning anomalies into Christian Platonist ontology categories, in contrast to Plato and his heirs, who distinguished different modes of being: God beyond being, eternal intellective being, the being of the sensible realm that is between being and non-being. Scotus flattens out being in such a way that removes different ontological degrees of reality. This he does by the notion of the so-called univocity of being. This means that the word being only has one meaning. On this view, there is a semantic equivalence of the term being when referring to the being of God, who is beyond being to Plato, Plotinus, and Dionysius, and to the being of a pile of horse manure, which is not within being at all for Parmenides. So the word being, when applied to God, has exactly the same meaning as it has when applied to a chair. How then is Scotus able to preserve God's otherness? He does this through the introduction of the idea of God as an infinite being. But this cuts the nexus between intelligibility and being, for the infinite is not knowable. The intellective essence of any creature, which is partially expressed in the transitory medium of space and time, must be finite, indeed definite, to impart a partial knowledge of itself, even if only God fully knows what the finite essence of any creature is. You need coffee. Probably me reading this is making you really need coffee. I will admit here, there's some high level philosophy going on here. A little bit complicated. Just a teeny bit. But God as infinite being is utterly unknowable and removed from us because of his infinitude. God becomes an ontological contradiction, a being that is essentially undefined. Scotus radically discards the Neoplatonist and patristic understanding of being, such that a broadly coherent use of terms in Western ontology, which maintains continuity from its Platonic classical origins and into 14th century medieval philosophy and beyond, becomes almost impossible. As mentioned above, I am sure that this late medieval development contributes to the intellectual malaise of late scholastic ontology, such that ties between metaphysics, theology, and natural philosophy, or science, become astonishingly complex and obtuse. After the scientific revolution of the 17th century, ontological thinking itself becomes in many ways redundant, and we now have analytical and materialist thinkers using the term existence as equivalent with to be, which radically derails the meanings of both the ancient and the medieval trajectories. You'll say, even though you're not familiar with most concepts being discussed, you do have a way of making this not dull when reading. I'm glad to hear this. I do think it's a there's an aspect of reading that I guess it's just, maybe people like the voice or something, or they like the pretty anime boy. They like there's a pretty anime man on their screen. But also just the rhythm of reading. especially when it comes to these type of works. I'm sure anyone who reads these type of works themselves know that you have to slow down, you have to break things down. But when you're narrating, when you're reading a book like this, you can't really do that, can you? But the best thing you can do is just read with a nice rhythm that tries to break things down and try and be like, this, because of this, therefore this. And you try to unlurk. I don't have an unlurk, Fluffy. I don't have an unlurk. I think you have to say lurk again. I might have a double lurk thing. Maybe I should add an unlurk thing. It's very easy to make it monotonous when reading complicated topics. Your brain enjoys the soft, calming male voice. If I just said screaming into the mic, you make it much more entertaining. Most people are boring reading it. Well, thank you very much. I think for the most part it's more the viewers who make it entertaining, and they just drag me around the place and force me to stop reading. Let us try to untangle the terminological knot around the word being in a little more detail. And there's a little bit of a long note here. You wouldn't. See, Brown, the verb to be in Greek philosophy. Brown's chapter is illustrative of what happens when a fine modern scholar reads Plato and Aristotle through the lens of epistemological foundationalism, modern materialism, and British analytical linguistic philosophy. When this happens, we are shown a complete unawareness of medieval thought regarding being, existence, and essence, and a profound failure to grasp the undergirdling perspective on being, shaping the meaning of thought in classical philosophy. Brown has no conception of the intellective and immaterial nature of being explicitly adhered to by Platonic and Neoplatonist thought in antiquity. She makes astonishing claims such as, why does Plato say the forms are really real, but sensibles not really real? He cannot mean that sensibles do not really exist. Thus to Brown, the complete is thought of as the is meaning exists, where exists is assumed to mean sensible material reality. So the distinction between existence and essence in medieval philosophy, the ancient equation of reality with the intellective and the immaterial, and the ancient conception of the partial reality of sensibles, entirely escapes Brown in her analysis of the meaning of the classical verb to be. She gives us a modern analytical analysis of to be in Plato and other ancient thinkers that has no relations to the philosophical meanings of classical thought at all. He did not like her work, I can see. He's trying to shift the compliments. Don't let him know. That's normal Irishness. We don't take compliments. There was a mention here of the essence-existence distinction in medieval thought, and I think I might very quickly explain this. So this is sort of, it does eventually lead to an argument for God and why God must exist as a sort of necessary being in this way. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, sorry. So the essence-existence distinction is an argument put forth that basically argues that the way I suppose you think about it is this. Imagine you are presented. Imagine you are someone who knows nothing about this world. You're talking maybe to a child or something. No, say you're talking to a child, and you explain to the child what a unicorn, a horse, and a saber-toothed cat are. You explain these three things, these three animals, but you don't tell the person that you're explaining it to which of them exist, which of them are real. You say to them, of these three animals that I have described to you, one of these exists now. One of these used to exist, but no longer does. And one of these has never existed. And you tell them, and the question that you pose to them is, and really the question, the thought experiment of this is, can this person by virtue of knowing what something is, i.e., its essence, know whether something exists. They are all really smelly. Know whether something exists. And someone like Aquinas would say, no, there is nothing inherent within something's being, i.e., what it is, that tells you whether it exists or not, at least on the form of this plane. So what you have, as he argues, is and there's much better wordings of this, is you have a distinction between something's essence and something's existence, or the fact that it exists. Basically, the idea is, if something's essence, the what it is to be that thing, which is very much tied to form in a sort of Aristotelian way. You guys, I'm just going to keep going. Because you guys are talking about feet and things that smell. If you have something whose within its essence includes its existence, it would have to necessarily exist. It would always exist. It could never not exist. Because if to be a certain thing also includes the fact that it exists, well, it would have to necessarily exist. It would have to exist to be the thing that it is, under such a description. So, Aquinas and those like him would argue that there must be this distinction, because we see that there are things in our reality that come in and out of existence. And for such a thing to happen, then there must be a difference for those things at least. And I think that's actually how the argument starts. The argument starts that we perceive that there are things that go in and out of existence. And then you follow on and you go through this kind of idea of essence and existence. And you kind of trace this thought back. And you kind of go, well, if there is something whose essence is distinct from its existence, well, there must have been something that actually existed that brought it into existence in the first place, in a sort of hierarchical causal chain. There must be something that actually existed that provided the means through which this thing could now exist, because it didn't necessarily exist beforehand. Is Aquinas a horse? Gusto, that hurt me. It's not Aquinas. It's not Aquinas. It's not Aquinas. It's Aquinas. Wait, how do I spell his name? Aquinas. It's Aquinas, not equine. He's not a horse. You don't describe this. You don't say, well, there was a horse. You describe to a child that there's an Aquinas. There's a horse named Aquinas, and he came up with these ideas. No, but anyway. You also thought it was Aquinas. No, it's not a horse. I mentioned horse because that's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking about it. But ultimately, you kind of follow this chain of reasoning back where you and there's much more formal ways of putting this. Mama, you're still listening. You're listening to me be a nerd about philosophy. But you ultimately follow this chain of reasoning back of this idea that, well, if essence and existence are distinct, then there must have been something that actualized its existence. I.e., there must have been something that provided the means through which this thing came to exist. Because its essence and existence are distinct, which means that it doesn't necessarily exist, which means it must be caused, which means if it does exist, it must be caused to exist. And there's a whole different aspect of causality and actuality and potentiality going on here as well. But you follow this line back in a sort of hierarchical nature. Not a horizontal causal chain back in time, but a vertical causal chain. So you keep going back, and obviously at some point you get back to something whose essence must be its existence, because there must be something at the beginning of the chain whose essence just is this existence, who necessarily exists to allow this chain to begin and to stay in place, to constantly be providing this essence, or to constantly be providing this this existence, and this is where you get this idea of for the scholastics that God is subsistence existence itself, ipsum esse subsistens. And there's a whole host of other ways, and there's more formal arguments of this, but you guys get what I mean. Whinnying noises. That's the noise a horse makes. Have you guys ever pet a horse? Horses are really cool. I remember I stood next to a horse and he rubbed his head on me, and he almost pushed me back because of how strong he was. They're really strong. They're really cool animals. So I'm sorry. I turned into a bit of a nerd there. I hope you guys were able to follow that a little bit. Horse noises are so soft. They just kind of breathe on you, don't they? I'd love to fall asleep and just wake up to like, I feel like you'd wake up to like a horse just looking down at you with their big dumb faces. Their big long dumb faces. And he just goes... You glance back at chat, you see Aquinas fluffies. Did that also hurt you? Fuck. Fuck Gusto said Aquinas. And it hurt me. Did you know one horse has like 12 horsepower? What? That doesn't make sense. I thought horsepower was a measure of horsepower. But you're telling me horsepower is not a measure of the power of a horse? Then what the fuck is a horsepower? Is a horsepower the power of a guy pretending to be a horse? Horsepower is definitely like the power that a guy can generate. If he gets like a stick between his legs and he kind of trots in place, he rides a stick pony. One horsepower is equal to 131.2 duck power. Last lot, you're not Sari. You're not meant to be the one giving duck facts. Aquinas is 1 horsepower. I see. Is tweaking now. Yeah, no. Don't call it tweaking. I'm not going crazy. I'm not crazy. They may have put me in a room with rubber rats, but that doesn't mean I'm crazy. I was crazy once. But yeah, sorry. They mentioned essence and existence, and it's a really interesting discussion and argument, really. It's actually one that kind of convinces me in at least some kind of higher power along the lines of the classical God. So it's one that I need to go back to it to become a little bit more kind of refresh my phrasing of it, because it is very important for these things to be very precise. But it's one that I think is probably one of the most beautiful of the I guess you could call it the 5 arguments, because it's one of the 5 ways of Aquinas. And many people look at the 5 ways as like a complete system. It's like, no, the 5 ways are like a page in the Summa. There's a whole host of other questions. Oh my god, I'm sorry. It just made me... I just got a flashback. I just got flashbanged of the amazing atheist trying to take on one of the 5 ways. I think he was looking at the first way, actuality and potential. No, I think he was just taking a general cosmological argument, ontological argument. No. Yeah. And he was like, oh well, why can't the first being, why can't the first mover be this blueberry muffin? I'm like, I'm just like, my brain hurts trying to even process that argument. Sorry, I ignore me. I'm reminiscing about dumb stuff. Horsepower actually stems from how much work they do across a whole day. I see. I'm gonna have to look this up later. A virtual room with Gusto saying Aquinas makes Ruadh go crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room broadcasting Gusto talking about philosophy. It made me more insane. A whole day of horse work. is 1 horsepower, but in short bursts they can reach higher horsepower. I see, I see. I imagine there's many horsepowers when they're running, when they're racing each other. It must be cool being a horse on the Great Plains, like a wild horse. You kind of just run around and have a broad questing. It's dumb. Toward untangling the terminological knot. To Plato, only that which is always and unchangeably real genuinely is. Here, if something is, it is eternal and universal, and it is always performing the unchanging, unending, and unbeginning action of being. Thus, what we now call ontology concerns for Plato that which really is, not that which is not, about which there can be no reasoning, and not directly that which neither fully is, and nor fully is not, the realm of tangible experience. See Republic 477a. Guys, I'm going to be honest, when you get talking about being, you're going to have to put up with the word not is being being said about 50 times in a row in a single paragraph. Hang on, I have to check. Ugh, okay. There we go. God dang, you fell asleep. Nora, the ASMR was working, I suppose. It'd probably say, hang on. Oh, God damn it. Probably just be you reading One Piece. That would be fun, I suppose. There we go. I hope you had a nice sleep, Nora. I hope you had a nice cozy eepy with some nice dreams. To Plato, real knowledge cannot be concerned with sensible material objects in any primary way, for everything within space and times comes in and out of existence and is always changing. Intellection is here a function of mentally apprehending that which unchangeably and universally always is. Being and intellection are profoundly tied in Plato. Thus the objects of sensory experience, the realm of our material existence, are the objects of opinion rather than of knowledge proper. We have a partial knowledge of particular spatio-temporal things, thanks to the innate manner in which our capacity for essential intellection is synthesized with our sense experience and common sense opinion, which is not no knowledge at all, but neither is it stable enough and meaningful enough to attain a genuine knowledge. There's a note here. Unlike Aristotle, Plato is not deeply interested in what we now call science, though Plato was very interested in mathematics. Indeed, to Plato, much of what we call scientific facts would not count as knowledge at all, but rather as often an often useful opinion. Where was I? Yes. No, wait, where was I? In contrast, those immaterial intellective truths that have no beginning or end, that are universally the case, such as mathematical truths, really are. Yet any particular materially existing circle, for example, came into existence and will go out of existence and is not intellectually a perfect circle. No circle we can physically apprehend is the essential circle, by virtue of the fact of its material instantiation within the medium of flux, transience, and contingency, which is the ever-shifting field of our spatio-temporal existence. But the materiality instantiated circle participates in it, in the intellectual form of the circle. So we can know a circle when we see one, for it expresses the form of the circle in space and time, even if that circle only incompletely expresses the timeless being of the idea of the circle itself. Significantly, the intelligibility and meaning of our sensory knowledge is dependent on space and time, having a derivative and participative relationship to the timeless mental realities of being. Push-ups? Oh, no, that's not fair. I did chest day today. I did chest today. That's not fair to make me do push-ups. That's mean. That's actually mean. Did anyone watch a show called Dinosaur King when they were younger? No, no. Nora, thank you for the head pats. Because I'm gonna need it in a moment. Okay, hang on. The booba pump. Well, time to do push-ups, I guess. My legs are still a little bit stiff from leg day, so standing up is also tough. I need to untangle my cables. Anyway, okay, you guys aren't gonna get a lot of push-ups today because it was chest day today, so just a word of warning. Oh no, I was doing fucking lame, dude. I was also doing. Can someone do exclamation point lower as a command, please? That's very important. I was also doing triceps. So, like, I'm not going to be able to rely on either of the main muscles of push-ups, but I will do my best. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Ugh. I could probably do more, but I don't want to. It already hurts. Okay, you get 30. You might have noticed that they were slower. It's gonna blow up. There we go. Okay. Ow, it already hurts. It already hurts. Hydrate, thank you. I will take a quick hydrate. That's better. That's better. I needed that water. Why do I suddenly have like a morning voice thing going on? Nope, I think I left. I could just feel it when I talked. You did not intend for it to be this painful. You can refund to redeem? No, no. Was it there? Did I imagine that, or was it actually there a little bit? Ruadh, drown check. It's very important to drown check me. I like how you didn't get. I like how you didn't get auto modded. What's up? It's only Haru who gets auto modded for that. The show you're obsessed with, Young Justice. No, don't lick me, Nora. Don't lick my sus face. There we go. Whew. You can really feel that I can really feel that I was working it today. Thank you for the face hold. Thank you, thank you. I need it. Oh, you guys got a good yawn there. You're gonna head to bed, Lancelot. Good night. Good night. Have a nice sleep. I think you guys got a really good yawn there. That was like, you guys, Ihama, good night, Nini. You guys could like put that to your, like, Fenian boyfriend falls asleep next to you ASMR type yawn, and then I kick you out of the house. Then I kick you out of the house because I don't know, you're annoying me, and that's how we break up. And that's my role play scenario. Fenian boyfriend breaks up with you and kicks you out of the house. That would be my type of BFE content. Wake up, babe. New Ruadh audio clip just dropped. My most popular clip is me going, oh fuck, for some reason. That's my most popular clip. I don't understand. Thank you for the head that clever. Thank you. Anyway, I think, is there much left in this chapter? Oh, there's a lot more in this chapter. Okay. We might just read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this. Yeah, you know what? We're going to be getting to. We'll get to this next section. The start of this next section. Which is going to be on Thomas Aquinas. But we'll probably end it there. You were really hoping it was the Skibbity courthouse? No, no, I don't think so. What? Yeah, well, Gusto, I don't know if you remember that or if you were there for that when it happened, but I had to read out a very painful copy pasta. I think you should be able to find them on my channel. Where were we? Oh yes. In contrast, those immaterial intellective truths that have no beginning or end, that are universally the case, such as mathematical truths really are, yet any particular materially existing circle. Oh no, wait, we read this. Oh yeah, there was a note here. The way we might put this in terms of modern way of thinking about the world is that what we call natural laws express the uniform and universal principles describing the necessary relations of matter and energy, where those principles themselves are not matter and energy, but are timeless, or at least for all time, and spaceless, at least expressed in all space of the physical cosmos, intellectual structures of matter and energy. The intellectually apprehensible ideas that govern matter and energy in the physical cosmos are not themselves physical or energetic things. They are a third thing, ideas. If these ideas governing space and time were not apprehensible to our minds, we could have no science of nature. Thus, ideas are basic to knowledge and are the very grounds of the material world. Aristotle has continuity with Plato in first philosophy, that being kind of ontology, this type of discussion that we're having now. The thought of what is essentially and universally real, and metaphysics and such. But Aristotle, as mentioned above, makes a notable deviation from Plato concerning the relation of form to matter. For Aristotle is a materialist, but not in the modern sense. That is, to Aristotle, matter and form are only ever found, at least by us, together. This means for Aristotle that the form or soul of any given person or being does not survive the deformation of their material body by death or destruction, even though the universal, abstract, and essential form of man, which each particular existing man partially embodies, is eternal. Consequently, that is, to Aristotle, the material and spiritual are always and eternally found together. There's a long note here. Anything of form, essence, mind, soul, etc., is spiritual or divine to both Plato and Aristotle. This is not a supernaturalist understanding of spirit, where a supposedly entirely discrete realm of being somehow coexists with an entirely discrete realm of nature. The modern supernaturalist perspective is a function of the 16th century Western doctrine of natura pura, and is an entirely foreign to classical thinking. Natural pura is a recent theological idea that treats reality as it is composed of two separate spheres, the purely natural material sphere and the purely spiritual supernatural sphere. Significantly, the natural and the supernatural are now thought of as self-sufficient in relation to each other. Nature no longer depends on the grace of continual divine providence, such that natural things, like thinking, are no longer divinely enabled activities that participate in the divine superstructure of an inherently graced and explicitly created cosmos. Thinking, simply because it is done with a physical brain and a material body, is a purely natural event to us now, something completely inconceivable to either Plato or Aristotle. So you guys might remember that a little bit from our reading back when we did that intro to, or kind of introduction to philosophy of mind, when it talked about kind of more materialist forms of minds, especially the eliminativists, such as the Churchlands and Daniel Dennett. There's also the epiphenomenalists who kind of view the mind as and thoughts as something that is distinct from the brain, but somehow arises from just the material and mechanical nature of things. Consequently, to Aristotle, space and time are as eternal as ideas. To Plato, however, the realm of form is radically prior to the realm of matter. So the sharp distinction Platonic thinking can make between being and existence, where being is what spiritually, immaterially, and intellectually timelessly is, and existence is any partial, neither fully is nor fully is not, material instantiation of form and space and time, is quietly but radically defaced by Aristotle. Not only that which has informed material instantiation can be for Aristotle, so substance, the stuff of that which is real, that which performs the act of being, is hylomorphic, and that meaning wood/matter, and the hylo, wood, matter, or morphic, meaning form, to Aristotle, is always composed of both eternal form and eternal matter. Being is here made radically existentially temporal and material, while also maintaining its intellective and eternal essence. You have to go, but you guys enjoy. You'll try to be back. Thank you. It was very nice to meet you, Fluffies. Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure. I hope to see you again soon. I'll probably be ending stream quite soon, I must admit, because we're coming to the end of kind of this section. So, but thank you so much. It was nice to see you. On the relation of form to matter, Plato and Aristotle cannot neatly be reconciled. To Plato, being is radically intellective, and partial material instantiations of divine essence exist in an in-between state, between reality and non-reality, between being and non-being. Thus, all material existence is also a metaxological in-between existence that arises out of being, rather than being an existence of pure matter, immanence, or pure mind/transcendence, or an eternal coeval union of the two. When Thomas Aquinas got a hold of Aristotle in the Middle Ages and seeks to synthesize Aristotle's non-Christian hylomorphic philosophy with Christian theology, which is itself embedded in Augustinian and Dionysian Christian theology, he undertakes a very complex task. Aquinas sits firmly within patristic orthodoxy in noting that the theology of the Incarnation radically glorifies human flesh in a manner totally at odds with a number of Middle Platonist, Neo-Platonist, and Gnostic body-hating trajectories common to the ancient world. Yet Aristotle's apparent rejection of the survival of the soul after the death of the body makes him incompatible with Christian doctrine. To St. Thomas, Aristotle's astute philosophy does not have all the answers, because Aristotle is a pre-Christian pagan, trying to understand reality as best as astute reasoning and wise observation allows, within the benefit of Scripture. Without the benefit of Scripture or the action of the Spirit of truth illuminating the teaching authority of the Church. Aquinas sits firmly. Shut up, what's up? The Augustinian, Thomas modifies Aristotle where his speculations should clash with church teaching. The Augustinian Neoplatonist ontological priority of essential form over contingent matter is not frankly denied by Aristotle, but Aristotle's way of thinking does tend in the direction of an inherent and mutual interdependence of matter and form, which Thomas's Christian Neoplatonism and Christian understanding of the immortality of the soul cannot accept, and yet the Christian understanding of creation and incarnation finds strong affinities with Aristotelian natural philosophy, and this Thomas is very happy to highlight. While Thomas affirms high ontology and the immortality of the soul, he is also keen to show how the material existence and the spatio-temporal substance and reality, as we normally experience it. How the material existence and the spatio-temporal specificity of the actualization of divine essence is basic to the notion of substance and reality as we normally experience it. Horseman in the thinker pose. Is he raised up, kind of just like standing on the stone? Is he lying down on the stone and taking that thinker pose? Or is he sitting back on his horse butt, raised like really high in the air, doing the thinker pose? And is he using his hand to do the thinker pose, or is he also using his hoof to do it too? I'll leave you guys with those questions. This is very similar to the trajectory Plotinus followed, even though Plotinus's philosophy is decisively not constructed to align with Christian doctrine. To Thomas and Plotinus, the being of God himself, in Dionysian manner, is understood only analogically and is emphatically not understood directly in the terms of existential being, or existential reality, being as we existentially and materially experience it. Thus, the distinctive meaning Aquinas gives to the Latin terms for being, essence, and existence are neither purely Platonic nor purely Aristotle. They are Thomistic and quite in harmony with Neoplatonist ontology. Let us look at Thomas a bit more closely, and we will do that next stream. There's a whole host of things that I could talk about there. Especially, I'll briefly mention, I talked about that for Thomas Aquinas, talking about the being of God can only be done analogically. Defo sitting back on the horse butt, hoofs and hands. You imagine them to be a horse minotaur? I'm imagining that too. Horseman and not... Oh! Horseman and not center, you see? Ah, okay, I see. I see now, I see what you mean. Oh, I see. No. The little thing about analogical predication, this is just kind of a distinction that Thomas Aquinas makes. There is equivalent predication, there is univocal predication, and there is, for Aquinas, analogical predication. So, to give a brief explanation of all three, I'm going to put down the book because I've finished reading. Univocal predication would be using kind of the same term to refer to the same thing when you use it. So, what would be a good example of univocal predication? Like I have one in mind for equivalent predication. Equivalent predication is basically where you might use the same term that means two different things. So you might, you know, you swing your baseball bat, you swing the bat at the bat. You're swinging it at the animal, the bat. You're using the term bat in two different ways that predicate two different meanings. But univocal is a little bit trickier. So I'm just blanking on what I could, on an example that I could use. Sagittarius was so goofy from Fairy Tale. But yeah, I suppose univocal would basically would be saying of something is the exact same in something else. So you would say, here we go. Sorry, this is way easier. You would say of Aristotle that he is a man, and you would say of Socrates that Socrates is a man. You use man in this instance to mean the same thing. You mean the exact same thing when you say man in this instance. Analogical equivocation or predication is a little bit trickier. You were saying that things are similar to each other in a way, but not exactly alike. So equivalent is, the term is two different, very distinct things, and univocal are, you mean the same thing, but analogical is a bit different. So a way to think of analogical predication would probably be like, you know, certain foods are healthy. You would say of an apple or a banana or a salad that doesn't have loads of dressing on it, that those are healthy foods. But they're only really healthy within relation to the health of a man. They're not actually healthy. There's nothing within the foods that make them healthy in of themselves. It's only by sort of this analogical predication that you would make that they bring about health in the man, that you would call them healthy. So that's a way to think about it. And for Thomas Aquinas, the only way one can speak about God is through this analogical predication. Because for him, the goodness that you might see in man, or the beauty, or being, or anything really, can never be truly spoken of univocally for God. You've got to defragment your mind after this. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've touched on some of these topics too myself, so I'm a little bit rusty on my explanations. I do apologize, but I do hope too much info and too high Q. You guys do a good job in keeping me grounded, so I thank you guys for that. I am thinking. Hello, Starshine. Oh no, Starshine. I'm so sorry. I'm getting ready to end stream. It's so nice to see you though. That was bad timing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stick around. I'll stick around for a little bit. I'll stick around for like 5 minutes. Why is? Hang on, I have to check something. I'm not gonna raid into them because they're loud, but. Oh no. Okay. I think there's a guy who has like a superhero themed VTuber, and there was a lady next to him that had the same theme, and I thought that maybe his girlfriend started streaming alongside him, but I think it's like a sidekick thing. It looks kind of neat. Anyway, sorry. And thank you, Nora, for the face hole. That was very sweet of you. How am I? I'm doing pretty good. Starshine. I'm glad that I finally got to raid after a couple of days of being very busy. I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'm going to have a chocolate ripple, because those are really tasty. You were reading weekly and it was brutal. What's this? Oh, fairy tale with the grey getting magic. You guys just talk about things, you know. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your talks because I have no idea what's going on. Hmm. Who should we raid into? There's someone who's also doing ASMR. Ooh, you know what? Oh, you know who we may raid into? I feel like raiding into a streamer by the name of Kitty Be Silly. I don't know if you guys have ever watched her. She has a 3D model that she does visual ASMR on. It's actually a reason why I want to get a 3D model. Um, I would actually prefer not to have men be the raid message here. One, because it's a lady, and two, because it's a very slow kind of calm chat. It's very much ASMR. Um, so let's keep it. Let's keep it. It wait, actually, hang on. 5 hour celebration. Oh, it's partner. I think. I think it's because they recently hit partner. Sweet. So maybe we'll do like I don't know. You guys can just do whatever. But anyway, yeah. I think we'll raid into Giddy Be Silly. She's a very large streamer. She's a very large streamer at 100 plus followers. No, not 100 plus followers. 100 plus viewers right now, and I regularly see her with many people. You know what? Yeah, you guys can just do Rua raid with those faces, with the sus face. That would be fine. Yeah, we'll quickly start the raid, get that ready. But thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. It was very much appreciated, and thank you all for thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mog, and thank you, Shroom, for the raids. Very much appreciated. I know it's been a few days since I was able to stream, and it might happen again because just this time period right now is really busy for me. I will do my best to raid though, or not raid. I'll do my best to stream and be able to be with you guys as much as possible. I'll probably try and stream tomorrow again. I should be able to. I don't see any reason why I would not be able to. But hopefully the week will be a little bit more calm. I'll be able to stream for you guys. Can't wait to hear her butcher your name. Hell yeah, let's do it. I'm looking forward to that too. But yeah, Gareb Mila Mahagut and Slán Gafol, and I will see you guys next stream. Bye bye. Bye bye. Boss, we appreciate you. Oh, aren't you guys sweet? Aren't you guys sweet to me? Such sweet viewers. Chat's too cute. Anyway, bye bye. I'll touch